point, right? And his point about the hotels was that these are places where people hold their golden weddings and, you know, family events like that. And therefore, when they're filled up by people you know not, and you know not where they came from, you feel very upset about it. And his point also was that those 150,000 who went on that march, right, they were ordinary people.
Yeah.
Use his expression, they were not nut jobs.
Yeah.
Remember, Trevor Phillips, the former chairman of
Race Equality Commission.
Race Equality Commission. This is a man you should be listening to on this argument, and you should not be listening to our Labour Prime Minister.
Archie?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really to add to that. I think you're absolutely right. I think Sir Trevor Phillips, his piece, when not to blow too much smoke up rival broadcasters' backside, but his piece on the march was incredibly balanced in a way that a lot of the mainstream media wasn't. I mean, clearly the numbers of people on that march differ somewhere between 150,000 and 4 million, depending on who you hear. But Trevor's piece was very, very limited. And I think you're right. Those hotels are places where people go on Valentine's Day and they take their mother out on Mother's Day. And if they're being converted into something where they're no longer familiar environments, that's a problem for social cohesion. So Starmer's got to do something about it, but he won't.
This is the thing. I mean, you can clearly see the Overton window shifting with that Phillips interview. I think it was his piece, should I say, to camera, because it was absolutely spot on, and that's the same feeling I had when I was there reporting. And the only reason we're all talking about it is because you don't expect to hear it from the other mainstream media, who are realising they are far behind the public when it comes to this topic. Right, let's get all of your front pages one more time, shall we? The Metro. They are saying Starmer hit by strategy chiefs Abbott sex jibe. The Independent, PM, I'd never have given Mandelson the job if I'd known. Well, I thought he said he did know. Anyway, The Independent, Starmer fights for his future as Mandelson row deepens and key aide resigns. The Daily Express, millions will face another surge in food bills. The Guardian, crisis for Prime Minister grows as aide quits over lewd remarks about Abbott. The Daily Mail, Starmer's socialist utopia goes into meltdown. The Sun, as suspect freed, Maddie stolen to order. The Times, Mandelson emails add to pressure on Starmer. And the Daily Telegraph, Trump to go easy on embattled Starmer. Well, there you have it, everybody. Those are all of your front pages for tomorrow. What a disaster for Keir Starmer. Is it absolutely a disaster? Listen, we'll have more on that tomorrow. Be with you, of course, from 9 p.m, and we'll have lots to dig into with Trump landing. If you're going to get to bed, good night. If you wake up in the morning, good morning.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening. Things are turning a bit calmer and a bit drier overnight. That doesn't mean it's going to be completely calm and dry tomorrow. There will still be a few showers around, but many of us will see a little bit more in the way of sunshine. It's been a boisterous day thanks to this area of low pressure. Still very windy out there across parts of the south where the isobars are particularly close together, but it is starting to ease down through the night. Still some heavy downpours to come across Northern Ireland, southern Scotland and northern England, and move back into North Wales later in the night as well. And a few showers keep going across Devon, Cornwall and Somerset. But many other areas will become drier. The wind's still fairly brisk, but coming generally a few notches down compared to today's very lively gusts. Temperatures start Tuesday about 10 or 11 Celsius. There will still be showers feeding into northern Scotland on a fairly brisk wind, but much of central and eastern Scotland having a fine sunny start to Tuesday. Much of Northern Ireland as well, but I suspect along the north coast staying fairly cloudy here. There's a line of thicker cloud and some showers that are going to feed across the Irish Sea into northwest England too, and we'll still have one or two scattered showers whizzing across southwest England. They will be moving through because the breeze will remain fairly brisk, and so we'll continue to see that zone of cloudier weather over southwest Scotland and northern England, provide a few showers that may get over the Pennines into the afternoon. One or two scattered showers continue over northern Scotland, but generally the east coast of Scotland, much of the Midlands and much of eastern England, dry and bright with some sunny spells. Winds lighter than today as well, and so feeling warmer with temperatures high teens, low 20s. It doesn't last. Another area of low pressure out here spills more wet and windy weather across the country during Tuesday night. It tries to clear through the course of Wednesday, but the dull, damp weather may linger across the south and northern Scotland. But it should cheer up for Northern Ireland and northern England. Going to stay blustery, however, through Wednesday, with more showery rain to come through the week.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
I'm Andrew Pearce. This is GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
the People's Channel?
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. The Prime Minister refuses to resign over the Lord Mandelson scandal, blaming the team in number 10.
Sir Keir Starmer admits to knowing about communication between the former ambassador and Jeffrey Epstein as speculation is raised around his judgment.
I knew of his association with Epstein, but had I known then what I know now, I'd have never appointed him.
In a rush against time before Donald Trump arrives for a state visit, the Speaker has granted an emergency debate today on Mandelson.
With Downing Street in disarray, there are now reports that the US president is expected to go easy on Sir Keir Starmer during his state visit because he understands the Prime Minister is on the ropes.
The first flight in the government's partial returns deal fails to take off with any migrants due to last-minute legal challenges.
The royal family gather at Westminster Cathedral to say their final farewell to the Duchess of Kent as her body is moved in preparation for her funeral later today.
All destroying. You get that sinking feeling in your stomach every morning.
Families have been left horrified after a 60-foot tall warehouse was built just metres from their homes in Wigan.
And in sport this morning, where the Champions League is back tonight with Spurs and Arsenal both playing Spanish teams. Sheffield United finally see sense and reappoint Chris Wilder as manager after sacking him in June. And the greatest pole vaulter of all time breaks his own world record for the 14th time.
More unsettled weather is on the way for the rest of this week, but today at least offers something a little drier and brighter. Full details in the forecast coming up.
Hello there, very good morning. Good to see you on this Tuesday morning. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Turkeys.
Turkeys.
Turkeys, like as in Christmas.
Is stuffed. This is according to the Daily Star this morning. Turkey supplies are notably tight. There's been a heat wave. So apparently the feed has gone up in price, and avian flu means that loads of turkeys have died.
Although turkeys have never been at a lower price, I was reading last week. Yeah, because no one wants them at this time of the year, so they practically give them away. So now they're finding excuses to ramp up the price for Christmas.
I see.
Which they will. Well,
apparently it's causing
I like a turkey.
I like a turkey.
I don't like a turkey. I find it very dry.
Do you?
Maybe I've just had
Overcooking
bad
them.
turkey. Maybe I've just overcooked the turkey.
Overcooking the turkey.
I prefer a beef on Christmas Day, I won't lie to you.
How about a beef and turkey? You do a double?
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Might treat myself this year. If I can get hold of one. But apparently it's difficult.
You'll get hold of one.
Will I?
Yeah.
I might pay a pretty price for a turkey.
Listen, Eamonn knows people.
Oh, yeah. Eamonn, you can hook me up.
Okay.
With one. But apparently it's the restaurants that are struggling because they have to set the price now. Oh, look at the turkeys on the screen. Apparently they're struggling because you have to set the price now, don't you, for your Christmas dinners? And they don't know how much they're going to be paying for the turkey.
See, again, I feel bad again looking at those.
I know. If you look too much, it does upset you.
Cluck, 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 cluck.
They're very
cluck,
social
cluck,
as well. I've done a
Are
story
they?
for GB News before, and I've gone to a turkey farm, and it is quite upsetting. If you walk into the middle of a field, they'd all follow you, and they talk to you.
You can have a pet turkey?
Yeah, they follow you around. They like people.
Until they realise people are going to kill them and then
I
eat
don't
them.
think they do realise that's the worst thing. They're very trusting.
Dear, dear.
Oh, dear.
Good morning to you on this Tuesday morning. Nice to have you on board. Leading the news this morning, the Prime Minister's under pressure after admitting he was aware of emails between Lord Mandelson and the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, Keir Starmer has blamed his team for not properly briefing him on the contents of the emails and insists he will not quit over the scandal.
I knew of his association with Epstein, but had I known then what I know now, I'd have never appointed him. Because what emerged last week were emails, Bloomberg emails, which showed that the nature and extent of the relationship that Peter Mandelson had with Epstein was far different to what I had understood to be the position when I appointed him.
OK, well, the scandal has thrown the Prime Minister's authority into question as he says he regrets defending Mandelson, as you heard there, before knowing all the facts, and with the Speaker granting an emergency debate on the vetting of Mr Mandelson, we're asking, can the Prime Minister recover from this?
Well, joining us now in the studio is Deputy Editor for Spiked Online, Fraser Myers. What do you make of this defence, Fraser? Because we have a Prime Minister here who's a former Director of Public Prosecutions who's admitting that he went into PMQs without knowing all of the facts and blaming his team.
Yeah, and he's given this very strange sort of non-answer where he says, I was aware that there were emails, but I wasn't aware of the content, which just raises the question, were you not curious enough to ask about the content, especially if you're going into PMQs to defend Peter Mandelson, so vigorously. I think this whole saga just illustrates the Prime Minister's incredibly poor judgment. I mean, everyone knew that there was a relationship between Lord Mandelson and Jeffrey Epstein. That hasn't been only just exposed this week. Perhaps the extent to it and some of the sort of toe-curling emails and images have come out this week, but we knew there was a relationship. We also knew that Peter Mandelson is someone who had a whiff of scandal about him. You know, the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, is now the third Labour Prime Minister to have sacked Peter Mandelson over a scandal in the third decade. This has got to be some sort of record. And so if you're Keir Starmer and you're saying that the thing that differentiates you and your party from the last government, from other political parties, is your reputation for being whiter than white, for having no scandals, for, you know, ending 14 years of Tory chaos as they see it, to then appoint someone who is known to attract scandals, even putting Epstein aside, is just an extraordinary misjudgment.
Where are these emails emanating from? Where suddenly we don't hear about them, and then in the past couple of weeks, emails. Who's leaking these emails?
Well, we don't know who has leaked them to Bloomberg, but it was Bloomberg who put them to the Foreign Office. I think the Foreign Office knew about them by Monday. It seems that Number 10 will have known about them on Tuesday. Whether that made it to Keir Starmer is the big question. And I think that's where Keir is trying to blame his staff for not letting him know the full extent of the damage. There are allegations that Morgan McSweeney, Starmer's chief of staff, tried to almost protect Mandelson. He was the one who insisted on Mandelson being hired. He used to work with Mandelson prior to working with Keir Starmer. The other thing is, of course, that a lot of this is coming out because of the in the US, the House Judiciary Committee, run by the Republicans, is doing an investigation into Trump's links with Jeffrey Epstein. So, and this is another thing. I mean, the Epstein scandal was brought up during the last election. Trump said he was going to release loads of Epstein files. Why was the, not then Labour government, but why were they not aware this was going to present an issue? It has been a big issue for a long time. It hasn't suddenly blown up today. Well, it's blown up this week, but it's been rumbling along for a long time. And you would think that if they were a bit more perceptive, if they had a bit more of a clue what was going on over in the States, then this might not have happened. And now we have a situation where we have a state visit from the President of the United States, and we have no US ambassador, which is pretty extraordinary.
We could have this extraordinary situation where the Prime Minister is fielding questions on Jeffrey Epstein and Lord Mandelson's relationship, where he will have to have a tough line on why he had to go, and talking about women and girls and the safety of women and girls, but at the same time not offending President Trump, who we know has or had previously had a close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
And Trump, like Mandelson, is in this excruciatingly embarrassing birthday book that was compiled by Ghislaine Maxwell on behalf of Jeffrey Epstein for his 50th birthday. That's going to be an extraordinary tightrope to walk, and I don't think it's one that our Prime Minister, who is not, let's face it, he's not a great off-the-cuff speaker. He likes to have every word prepared for him. I think he's going to really struggle there. Even if President Trump is saying that he wants to go easy on Starmer, or that's the suggestion being put about in the Telegraph, aware that Starmer is on the ropes, I think a lot of journalists are going to make that very difficult.
Well, if that was a surprise for Prime Minister Starmer, what about the partial returns deal? How much of a surprise is that lawyers will suddenly become involved in this at the last minute and prevent anyone being deported?
Well, it shouldn't be a surprise to viewers of this channel, because I'm pretty sure when we were talking about this deal coming through, we said that legal challenges would be allowed. And if those legal challenges are able to wait out this period, I think it's a 30-day calling-off period, then the migrants will be able to stay. This is the problem at the heart of this issue. You know, we have a new Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood. She talks a tough talk. The government broadly talks a tough talk about deporting everyone who comes here. But as long as people are able to make legal challenges before they're deported, as long as people are allowed to appeal an unlimited amount of times, as long as there is an assumption that there is basically a human right to stay in the UK, then none of these schemes are going to get off the ground, and none of them are worth the paper they're written on.
So where do we go from here? I mean, you can't deport anybody, can you, whilst you're in the ECHR, whilst you allow for legal challenge?
And this is the crux of the matter, because the only thing that government has promised, where you actually believe them, where you think they are actually committed to this, is they've said that we're not going to leave the ECHR, we're not going to tamper with the Refugee Convention. And that means they're not going to solve this issue, no matter how much they protest that they're working hard on it.
OK, Fraser, thank you very much. We'll see you in the next hour.
Well, that's just turned into the nonsense we all thought it was, that returns deal, which we all said.
Quite predictable, wasn't it?
Very predictable. So what is the only solution to this? Is it to pull out of the European Court of Human Rights deal and their jurisdiction over the country? Who's got the guts to do that? Who? And what would happen to us if we did do it? What's going to be the huge penalty we would have to pay if we did pull out of that? So Donald Trump's going to touch down in the UK for his second state visit very shortly, and he will stay at Windsor Castle, where he'll be hosted by the King and be treated to a lavish state banquet.
Well, there will be no public-facing engagements during the visit, with thousands expected to protest against the president during his two-day visit.
Now, this comes as only 1 in 3 of us believe the UK still has a special relationship with America, with pressure on Sir Keir to ensure a smooth visit. We're now joined by the host of the Politics People podcast, Paul Duddridge, on this one. So, Paul, how does this change the way President Trump would receive his state visit, or the way he would react towards it?
Well, everything from Trump is glowing about this state visit. It has all a bit been overshadowed by the assassination of Charlie Kirk this week. So we haven't actually had much news or discussion of it, and that'll kick off, I'm sure, today when he actually arrives. I think he's arriving with you Tuesday evening, is my understanding. Yes, it's going to look. All of it's going to have an impact on him. I think what's one of the most interesting things is that this is his second state visit. This is unprecedented. They say it's rare, but I can't find another president that's actually had 2 state visits. So this is second. The former was in 2019, obviously, with the late Queen. It's just really, it's really interesting, and they are really rolling out the red carpet is an understatement. I think we've got flybys, the red arrows. I think we've got 3 military bands on Wednesday. We've got the state banquet, as you said, which Ed Davey is boycotting. Did you see this? Ed Davey's boycotting as a party leader. He's invited to the state banquet and he's boycotting it because of Trump's Gaza policies. So the other party leaders will be there, people like Kemi Badenoch. But yeah, Ed Davies decided to
the leader of the Northern Ireland's First Minister is boycotting it as well, Michelle O'Neill.
Extraordinary, isn't it? Extraordinary. The one time.
Why is it extraordinary?
Well, it's extraordinary that these are party leaders who are avoiding the opportunity to meet the most powerful leader on earth and perhaps make a case for the people they represent, and they're actually just taking their ball away and sulking. I think it's shameful that people have, no matter what one thinks of any of these world leaders, they are there. This guy is 26% of the world economy, and you've got leaders, political leaders, who claim to represent their constituents, who are actually just, like I said, avoiding it. I think it really is awful. I think that's now Starmer's going. He's meeting Starmer at Chequers on Thursday, and obviously at the state banquet. But that's if Starmer's still in office. This is the most remarkable thing over this side of the pond, is that there's a chance that it's all started with obviously Epstein, and that's such an American story. But then it turns into Mandelson, and now there's rumours going, Starmer might not be in office by the time he actually is supposed to meet him at Chequers on Thursday. So anyway, he will be meeting the British Prime Minister on Thursday, whoever that may be.
And what do you think this means for our special relationship, Paul? Because it could be a really awkward one this week, especially when the Prime Minister is fielding questions from the press about Jeffrey Epstein. And we know, of course, that President Trump had that historic friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. So despite all the pomp and pageantry, there's quite a diplomatic tightrope as well for the Prime Minister to kind of juggle here.
I think it's more of a problem for Starmer, actually, the way that the story's breaking. The special relationship, I think this is now going to be redoubled. What's interesting is that the business behind all this seems to be timed with trying to get some, I think there's an AI tech joint agreement, so that the US and the UK will now be more aligned and outside EU tech AI rules in the future. So we're actually putting some putting some actual bonds together as opposed to just this flowery special relationship. There's actually going to be some meat and potatoes in there that move alignment away from the EU and towards a US-UK alignment. So I think that'll be helped. I don't think this Epstein thing is going to make any difference to Trump. Trump has fielded it in the Oval Office so many times now that, you know, he just shrugs it away. It's an issue for Mandelson, and especially if you've got your wonderful Bev Turner there, that she will be pressing Starmer about his relationship with Mandelson. I don't think there's much of an appetite to keep pressing Trump on it. And like I said, if there is, then he's well practiced at just shrugging that particular subject off at the moment.
Yeah. Paul, really appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. Paul hosts a podcast called the People's Podcast. Thank you very much indeed for your time and your opinions this morning. Paul mentioned meat and potatoes substance there, and you can have your say on this today, but I think this is really strange. Now, this is not meant to be any reflection from me on the Scouts, but Kate and Melania, well, while everybody's doing all the big grown-up things over the next few days, Kate and Melania will meet the Scouts during the state visit to the UK.
I think that's lovely.
It's not important.
Well, no, they'll do the state visit stuff tomorrow, so they'll do the carriage ride and they'll be in Windsor Castle
I just
tomorrow.
think it is so obviously sexist. It's so, let the women go off there and deal with the children.
Yes, this is when Trump and Keir Starmer are meeting at Chequers on Thursday. The women are going to go see the Scouts. I get what you're saying, but Kate works really closely with the Scouts, doesn't she? So.
Yeah, there's a lot of things she really does. You know, she goes and picks flowers in the forest. You know, is she going to bring Melania out to do that?
I think they are doing some sort of nature thing with the Scouts. I think that is actually.
It's so. I mean, I'm sure Melania wants to meet the Scouts, with all due respect.
I think. Well, Kate's been president of the Scout Association, I think, for 5 years or something, and then Melania does a lot for young children in the States. So I think maybe between them,
it's not important enough. No, that's my view. It's not important enough, and it's very sexist, and it's very. If you want to maintain that, what's the word I'm trying to say? The falsification of all of that, then fine. Let the wee women go off there and meet the Boy Scouts.
I think it's what both of them actually want to do, and they feel quite passionate about. But I get what you're saying. But it's only when the men are meeting at Chequers.
You don't get what I'm saying. You don't get what I'm saying. You think that's just what the women should do, go and meet the Scouts.
No, they're in Windsor Castle tomorrow, the four of them, and William and Catherine have a really important job of greeting the President and his wife. And then they're going to be at the state banquet tomorrow, all together.
Would you
and
do
then
the
it's on
important
Thursday
thing, meet
when
the Scouts?
When they do separate things.
All right, OK.
Anyway,
who am I? Who am I to say? No reflection on the Scouts, who I'm sure do a brilliant job, whatever they do. Aidan McGivern does a brilliant job with the weather situation. We're going to get a weather update from him now.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Certainly compared with how we've started the week, it's a drier day for most of us today. Still a lot of cloud and still some showers, especially towards western coasts and more especially parts of northern and northwest England, southwest Scotland, Northern Ireland. That's where we'll see some very frequent and occasionally persistent showers moving through. Areas of cloud for many, but the brightest weather will be towards the southeast, mostly dry here, as well as parts of central Scotland. Again, avoiding a lot of the showers here. It's going to feel a little warmer because of the lighter winds compared with Monday, and also because of fewer showers and a bit more sunshine. But it turns increasingly cloudy, increasingly breezy as well from the southwest as the afternoon comes to an end. Meanwhile, for much of Scotland, we keep the showers going into Tuesday evening. The most frequent of these will be across the north of Scotland, and the showers further south through the central belt and southern Scotland tending to ease. Northern Ireland showers also easing for a time. Northwest England seeing one or two, but across parts of Wales and the southwest, the showers merging to give longer spells of rain as the evening sets in because of the next frontal system that's approaching. It also turns breezier overnight. We do keep some clear spells and some dry weather into the east and especially the northeast of Scotland, but really for much of the UK, by dawn on Wednesday, it's a very wet and very breezy picture. That means, of course, it's not going to be a particularly chilly night away from the far northeast where we keep the clear skies, but it is going to be a soggy start to Wednesday. Some heavy rain through parts of Wales, the Midlands, northern England as well. That will come and go through the day. The bands of rain push their way northeastwards. It does turn drier and brighter in places, particularly Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, northern England by the afternoon, but areas of rain will persist elsewhere, particularly across parts of Wales. It's going to feel a bit more humid, highs of 20 Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, still to come.
Soul destroying. You get that sinking feeling in your stomach every morning.
Well, people like that man have been left horrified after a 60-foot tall warehouse was built just metres from his home in Wigan. Well, you can see it all there. Would you fancy that? What would you do about it? What could you do about it? More next.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts Monday night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Massive warehouses in Wigan. We're going to be talking about those being built and what people and how they're reacting to seeing those right outside their back windows. But before all that, some better news with...
Yes, the Great British Giveaway now. Your chance to be our biggest winner to date with a prize package worth over £104,000. It's a brand new motorhome and £30,000 in tax-free cash. Here's Hayley Sparks with all the details.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof light, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, if you live in Wigan, this is for you. Good luck to you, because people there have been constantly campaigning ever since permission was granted for five absolutely enormous warehouses to be built on their back doors. This is in a place called Tilsley.
Well, as construction continues, their campaign has been gathering more and more support, with the group vowing not to rest until something is done.
Our North West reporter Sophie Reaper paid the area a visit to find out what's going on.
It's soul-destroying. You get that sinking feeling in your stomach every morning.
Residents say they remember lush pastures and roaming cows, a place for their children to play and to walk their dogs. Now they've been left reeling by the construction of 5 giant warehouses right at the heart of their community.
The impact on the residents is multiple, because it has emotional impact, mental health impact, financial impact. We want our lives back. We want to enjoy when we come home.
Since development began, residents have reported issues such as noise and light pollution, rat infestations, and the value of their homes being decimated. When asked by GB News about the community's concerns, site developers PLP did not respond. However, Wigan Council's Director for Place, Aidan Thatcher, said, "This planning application went through our planning consultation and committee process. The final plans include landscaping, which will help to screen and soften the appearance and mitigate the impact on nearby properties. We will continue to monitor the site throughout construction, ensuring this development bringing new jobs and investment to the area is delivered properly." However, with landscaping promised by the council still a distant prospect, local resident Kevin has done what he can to improve the view from his garden. He says he and his wife would leave if they could, but as it stands, that's no longer an option.
It's literally impossible to sell your house certainly on this part of the estate. Just over my shoulder, my lovely neighbour has had her house up for sale for almost 6-7 months. She's actually reduced the price by £50,000 and is still not getting any bites. When we ploughed our life savings, we've worked our backbone off to get a lovely home. This wasn't what we were planning for. This is not what we paid for this house.
Meanwhile, on the next street over, Danielle and Sean live right in the shadow of one of the 5 warehouses. They fear for young families once the site becomes live and operational 24 hours a day.
If we could at least have it 9 till 5, we know our children can sleep at night. But if it's 24 hours, we've got to keep our children awake, keep us awake. We're working, we're all working families, and it's just going to be a massive disturbance to our life.
This has implications all over the country.
Nationwide, the Community Planning Alliance say around 700 local communities are battling to save their green spaces. Here in Tilsley, the fight rages on. They now have a steering group and over 1,000 residents supporting their campaign. They say they won't stop until their voices are heard. Sophie Reaper, GB News.
What is the planning process all about? A blind man on a galloping horse could see what an eyesore those warehouses are. And indeed, why could they not have been placed, all 100 metres further away than where they are at the moment?
Yeah, and Jazzy makes a good point, saying wait until they're fully operational. The noise is going to be absolutely awful. It's just behind people's houses.
I'm just looking, when you look out your back window or you pull your car up at your front driveway, whatever, and the massive walls of those warehouses there just is absolutely inescapable. Incredible, but somebody in the council thought it was a good idea, right? So what are you going to do about that? The idea, I don't know why the locals are protesting, because they're going to be able to do nothing about that. The jobs will come first. That's what it's all about. And incidentally, talking about jobs, the latest employment figures are going to be released at 7 o'clock this morning, and we will have those for you.
Yeah, we will. Now, at 6:31, it's time now for our daily reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello. My name is Marcus Mack. I'm a priest in the Church of England. The second of the greatest commandments is this: love your neighbour as yourself. In a self-obsessed culture, it would be easy to read this and think, I need to love myself before loving others. But it doesn't say that. It assumes we already know how to love ourselves. The problem isn't more self-love, the problem is too much self-love. We know how to love ourselves. When we get sick or hungry or encounter problems, we instinctively act to take care of ourselves. We have no problem looking after our own personal interests. What we struggle to do, and what we are commanded to do, is to love others as we love ourselves. To not only look to our own interests, but also to the interests of others. Just like in the story of the Good Samaritan, who took the time to care for an injured victim. The Good Samaritan treated his wounds and paid for his accommodation so he could rest and heal, all out of his own pocket. We are to help, love, and support others as we instinctively do for ourselves. If everyone did this, there would be no one in need. This is only made possible when we first love God as supreme in our lives.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
If you're travelling to work or school this morning, here's your traffic and travel update.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Drivers on the M6 northbound between Junction 4A and Junction 5 should anticipate congestion. Further issues are reported on the M6 northbound between Junction 4 and Junction 6. Despite typical delays, current disruptions pose a challenge with an expected resolution later today. Please be cautious and allow extra time for your journey. And on the trains, London Overground services are facing disruptions between Crystal Palace, Norwood Junction and Sydenham. Northern train journeys are affected with buses replacing services between Corkicle and Whitehaven. Stay informed and plan accordingly, as constant updates will help ease travel plans. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Right, up next in the programme this morning, the job of the Manchester United boss, Ruben Amorim, seems to be in doubt. That's what all the back pages are going on this morning. We'll be back talking about that and the Champions League with Paul Coyte next.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays, I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Paul Coyte here with the sport. Paul, Ruben Amorim over all the back pages. Big doubts about what's going to happen there. Seems he's got the support of the club, but they're saying that Benfica are interested in having him.
Yeah, but you know what? This we could talk about this, but this is going to go on for weeks and weeks. Whether he stays or whether he goes, people are just trying to find a story out of it. Benfica in Portugal obviously would like him because he's very successful over there, but at the moment he's in a job, so I can't see that he's actually wanting to leave. It all depends. It's just whether he actually gets the elbow. We'll see.
I think what depends on who else is available, and the answer is nobody.
And who? And what do you do? Who do you go for? If there's anybody in world football that Manchester United could go, that's the manager to replace him. I've tried everybody. You are the only choice left. You are the only hope left, Eamonn.
Well, I think I could maybe pick a better way of playing than he is at the moment, and that is he had the support of the fans, and this is the whole key. Now he doesn't have the support of the fans.
I mean, even if we went in as a 1 and 2, and I'm happy to do it for a while, just to get Man United.
Are you going to be 1 or 2?
No, I'll be 2, because,
okay.
you know, you're more Manchester United. I couldn't go in as 1. But just say, look, boys, go out, do your thing, just play. Do what you do. It can't be any worse, can it? Can't be any worse.
I used to hear that's what Matt Busby used to say to people, you know, and Don Revy and whatever, go out and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
So you could be good cop and bad cop.
But that's it. Yeah. Well, it's going to be good cop. Who's going to be the bad cop, do you think?
Oh. I feel like Eamonn could give them a telling off.
I think he would. I think he would. Champions League is tonight. Athletic Club.
Hey, who would have thought Spurs in the Champions League?
But what do you mean? We've been there before. Villarreal tonight at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Arsenal, so that's 8 o'clock. Spurs are 8 o'clock at home to Villarreal. Arsenal are in Bilbao playing, which was the scene of the Europa League final.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah.
Mikel Arteta. Look, we've got here's Mikel Arteta arriving at the training ground. We've got a picture of Mikel Arteta arriving. There he is, arriving at the training ground. And let's hear what Mikel Arteta... See, that's just out. That's inside.
He's looking in good form, isn't he?
He is. He's looking well.
He's looking happy.
Oh, that's another room there at the training ground. That's the orange room, they call that. Let's hear from Mikel Arteta, shall we? This is what he had to say.
Well, that tells you with our long history how difficult it is because we haven't won it yet, and that's the opportunity. That's how I see it. You know, the pressure is the opportunity that thrives that energy, that willingness to be better every single day, to make decisions that are in that direction. And every decision, then if we were not that much, every decision has to be with that standards and with those expectations. And let's give our best chance to try to do it.
This man, that's Captain Black there, talking before the game tonight. World Athletics Championships, by the way. It's kind of flying under the radar because it's in Tokyo, it's in the afternoon, it's when the nighttime stuff, but Mondo Duplantis is someone that we've mentioned before. He's the greatest athlete in the world. He's the finest pole vaulter there's ever been. He's broken the world record 14 times. Have a look at this. So again, every time he breaks the world record, he gets another $100,000. Now, he's taken it up now. That's the 14th time, 6 meters 30. So usually people are doing around 6 meters, and this guy is so far in front of everybody. Every time he goes out, he breaks the world record.
Do you think the money's an incentive?
I think it is an incentive because each time he goes up by 1 centimetre.
Wow.
So he doesn't go, right, I'll go even further, leave it now to the next championship, go up another centimetre, but he just keeps doing it.
And it clears it so
Nobody
easy
can
each
get
time,
to it.
doesn't it?
The secret is a little hook. Can we see the shoe? He's got like a little super shoe, and there's a little hook. See that little hook? It's his Puma shoe. The little metal hook, but the thing is he only...
On the toe.
That's it, on the toe, and that, he says, helps his speed.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. Because it couldn't be legal. I mean, he's getting a grip on the ground going up.
Well, anybody could use it, but he only uses it every now and again because he says that sometimes when he goes over the top of the bar, that catches his hand, and he ends up cutting his hand and his arm, and they've got a little plastic cover.
I don't think it's the shoe. It's him.
Oh, it is him.
He
but the
makes
shoe
it
is
so
just
easy.
He's unbelievable.
So he breaks the record. I wonder to see if he ever break his pole.
Well, funny enough, he used a new pole.
Oh.
A stiffer pole he used for the first time. Yeah. And apparently that worked quite well. It's his new World Championship pole.
I always find that a really tough discipline at school. Just to balance yourself on that, to do this. It's, ooh, look at that.
I was very good at the pole vault.
Were you?
Yeah, it's because I'm tall.
See, we never had pole vaults.
Do you not?
Well,
That's great.
I told you we only had one hurdle at school, so the chance of having a pole vault. I told you about that, didn't I? One hurdle, and that was all we had, and everybody had to line up in a row, run along, jump over the hurdle, and go right back round again. Do you want time for the beer, or do you want to leave the beer?
Back to football again. Chris Wilder back at Sheffield United.
I'm going to do Chris Wilder. OK, Chris Wilder is back. Chris Wilder, for the 3rd time as manager of Sheffield United. So they sacked Ruben Selles over the weekend. They sacked Chris Wilder back in June, even though he got them to the playoffs. They were 14 minutes away from going into the Premier League. But, oh, no, not good enough for Sheffield United. Silly, silly people. So now they've seen sense, and they brought him back again for his 5th time at the club, twice as a player, 3rd time.
Well done to him.
Good luck to him, and hopefully things will turn around because they've lost all 6 games so far.
Paul, we'll see you again 40 minutes' time, OK? Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Steve.
Boyti. Now, do stay with us. Still to come, we're going to be going through the papers with Freddie Gray and Scarlett Maguire. We're going to be talking about President Trump's state visit, which is just hours away. We're hearing he's going to go easy on the Prime Minister. All of that after the European weather.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're wondering where you can go to avoid the UK's wind and rain, well, just about anywhere further south will do it, with a large area of high pressure bringing widespread dry and sunny weather, and in fact very warm weather to the Canaries, into Spain as well as Portugal. Central Spain at the moment seeing temperatures up to 37, 38 Celsius, much higher than average for the time of year. Not quite as hot across Central Europe, but mostly dry with plenty of sunshine, and that theme continues through the rest of the week and into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
This week, an extraordinary art discovery was made on an estate agent's listing in Mar del Plata in Argentina. Above a velvet sofa hangs an old master portrait lost for more than 80 years, looted by the Nazis. Its reappearance has reignited interest in the long quest to restore stolen heritage. Joining me now is historian Michaela Hume.
It's a fascinating story. So a lady who is a descendant of a former soldier who worked with Hermann Göring has, it is believed for years, has had some art that has been looted, that was looted during World War II. And I think people have approached her about this over the years, and she's categorically denied having any looted art. And she goes then to put one of the houses, I think that was owned by her father, up for sale, and hasn't realised that art that is believed to have been looted is actually on these images that the estate agent has taken.
Although it is extraordinary, it's kind of not entirely a surprise in the sense that the flat did belong to a Nazi official, is that right?
That's correct, yeah. And we know that Hermann Göring himself was a collector of art. I think during the 1940s, it was said that he was getting, on average, about 3 paintings, what we would call masterpiece paintings, a week. So we know that a large percentage of this looted art was going to him. It was even said that he had masterpieces just hung up in his cabin in the country, So it's highly plausible that he has given a piece of art to one of his right-hand men that has then been, passed down to his daughter.
The People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
We're delighted to welcome, to go through the newspapers today, Freddie Gray and Scarlett Maguire. Very nice to see you.
Freddie, let's start with the Mandelson email, shall we? And the Times front page this morning, adding pressure to the PM.
Yes, well, thanks to the Tories, the Prime Minister's going to have to face 3 hours in Parliament, an emergency debate on what he knew when about Mandelson. And everybody's already tired of the details of this, because obviously it was a bad appointment. Obviously he should have acted sooner, but he didn't. And what this story really points to is the growing pressure on Starmer to resign. It sounds a bit hasty to be saying this, but I had last week on Tuesday, a friend of mine who's very well informed and well connected in politics said, "I'll bet you Mandelson is gone within the week," and I took that bet. And last night he texted me saying, "I bet you Starmer's gone within the week."
Within the week?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to take that back, because I think he'll survive the week.
If that was the case, I mean, it'd be a pretty serious accusation looming, wouldn't there?
Yes, but you feel like it's a sort of, there's a drip, 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 or something even worse than a drip, 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 a flood, flood, flood of bad news at the moment.
Where is the bad news coming from? I mean, suddenly we don't hear anything about this. Then there is a load of birthday card greetings and all sorts of things.
It's a terrible mix of things, I think. Like all governments in crisis, there's a bit of bad luck that it's all happening at once. There's also a lot of infighting and briefing against each other going on from Labour people, as I'm sure Scarlett can tell you more about that.
It'll not help now that he's blaming his number 10 team, Scarlett, that he's saying, "Oh, well, it wasn't me, I would have been OK with this, but this lot around me, they didn't brief me, they didn't tell me what was in these emails."
We do wonder what happened, that we now know that the Foreign Office knew on Tuesday afternoon about these emails. Mm-hmm. And Keir Starmer went out on Wednesday lunchtime and said, "I have complete confidence." And he says, and I've watched the interviews over and over again, he says, "I didn't know anything by Wednesday lunchtime," which I think is if he was found not to be telling the truth, then your friend would be right and he would be gone within the week. But actually, I don't think I believe him, because it's so easy to show if he's lying. And clearly, one does have to say today, who on earth decided that he shouldn't be told? Yeah. I mean, it seems completely mad.
So he knew about the existence of the emails, but he didn't know about the contents.
That's the mystery. Nobody quite knows how much he knew.
Nobody knows how much he knew. I mean, and Peter Mandelson said in an interview with Harry Cole, there's more to come, which, yes, I mean, I think at that...
Well, the great irony now is that Mandelson is bitter, as everybody knows, yes. And he is now briefing against Keir Starmer about the appointment of Lord Mandelson. So it's Mandelson briefing to get Starmer in trouble about what a disaster Lord Mandelson was.
Yes, I mean, he is a very difficult man to sack. When Tony Blair sacked him for the second time back in the day, I mean, a friend of mine was in number 10 Downing Street, and you could hear him screaming, "Tony, how dare you? How dare you?" And then the banging of doors and everything. I mean, he was being offered the European Commissioner for Trade, right? It wasn't like he was being offered nothing. And he was absolutely furious. So he will have, I mean, I was talking to his biographer last week who said he's got to go, but he will be hanging on.
And you can see that, can't you, from the statement on his departure when he was saying, "I've got no choice. Prime Minister's made it this way."
No, he's fuming, and he's not called the Prince of Darkness for nothing.
He won't go quietly.
No.
Scarlett, we're hearing in the Daily Telegraph that, despite all of this, President Trump is going to go easy on the embattled.
Yes, I'm not quite sure how he could go hard on Keir Starmer. I mean, Trump is so looking forward to this. This is all about the king. Trump adores royalty. Aren't I wonderful? This is my second state visit. I've got dinner. I'm going to Windsor. I'm going to see King Charles, and Charles knows what he has to do. I mean, we have to be nice to President Trump. So as far as President Trump is concerned, this is great. And of course he's going to be nice to Keir Starmer. But what will be interesting is if he does do a press conference, that we know what the British press are like. And the first question will be, what about Jeffrey Epstein? Which is the question that actually is bugging him most in the States.
Freddie, let's talk about the deportation flights, which didn't happen yesterday. One in, one out. Does it really surprise you?
Not at all. No. The farce that is one in, one out, but maybe the worst name policy in recent history, continues. They tried to get one out yesterday, and they couldn't. They might fly him or her out today. We don't know. Meanwhile,
it'll happen again, won't it?
Well, it's a legal challenge, yeah. Which is everybody always said this isn't going to hold up to the legal challenges. It's not watertight enough. It's not well constructed enough. So it's an agreement with the French government that neither country can really implement. And, you know, Yvette Cooper, who brokered it, is now in a similarly important job. And it's just amazing that this was puffed up by the government when it was launched as this breakthrough idea that was going to solve our illegal immigration problems. And it just isn't, and it won't. So
and it won't, whilst we're still tied to the European Court.
Exactly, or even our own human rights law. The NGOs can complain or stop it on that front. Lawyers can do the same.
But I mean, we do have to think that. I mean, certainly the first Rwanda flight that never took off, but they had got all the people ready for it, and the journalists who looked into it. I mean, they were the wrong people. I mean, I had a young woman staying at my house. I was given her on bail because she was about to go to Rwanda. I mean, she was a Christian on the fleet fleeing from Eritrea. What on earth were they doing, sending somebody like that to Rwanda?
OK, well, we'll try and answer that question next time around. Guys, for the moment, thank you very much indeed. And with the time, it's 6:54. Let's have a look at the weather with Aidan.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Certainly compared with how we've started the week, it's a drier day for most of us today. Still a lot of cloud and still some showers, especially towards western coasts and more especially parts of northern and northwest England, southwest Scotland, Northern Ireland. That's where we'll see some very frequent and occasionally persistent showers moving through. Areas of cloud for many, but the brightest weather will be towards the southeast, mostly dry here, as well as parts of central Scotland. Again, avoiding a lot of the showers here. It's going to feel a little warmer because of the lighter winds compared with Monday, and also because of fewer showers and a bit more sunshine. But it turns increasingly cloudy, increasingly breezy as well from the southwest as the afternoon comes to an end. Meanwhile, for much of Scotland, we keep the showers going into Tuesday evening. The most frequent of these will be across the north of Scotland, and the showers further south through the central belt and southern Scotland tending to ease. Northern Ireland showers also easing for a time. Northwest England seeing 1 or 2, but across parts of Wales and the southwest, the showers merging to give longer spells of rain as the evening sets in because of the next frontal system that's approaching. It also turns breezier overnight. We do keep some clear spells and some dry weather into the east and especially the northeast of Scotland, but really for much of the UK, by dawn on Wednesday, it's a very wet and very breezy picture. That means, of course, it's not going to be a particularly chilly night away from the far northeast where we keep the clear skies, but it is going to be a soggy start to Wednesday. Some heavy rain through parts of Wales, the Midlands, northern England as well. That will come and go through the day. The bands of rain push their way northeastwards. It does turn drier and brighter in places, particularly Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, northern England by the afternoon, but areas of rain will persist elsewhere, particularly across parts of Wales. It's going to feel a bit more humid, highs of 20 Celsius.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Affected drivers face congestion on the M6 northbound between Junction 4A and Junction 5. Be prepared for delays in the Solihull area, with congestion on the M6 between Junction 4 and Junction 6, causing up to 40 minutes of delays. North of London, the A38 near Junction 6 has significant traffic build-ups, slowing journeys. And on the trains, there is disruption on the London Overground between Crystal Palace, Norwood Junction and Sydenham. Additionally, Northern Line buses are replacing trains between Corkickle and Whitehaven, so check for updates before setting out. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Good morning. The Prime Minister refuses to resign over the Lord Mandelson scandal, blaming the team in number 10.
Sir Keir Starmer admits to knowing about the communication between the former ambassador and Jeffrey Epstein. A speculation is raised around his whole judgment on the matter.
I knew of his association with Epstein, but had I known then what I know now, I'd have never appointed him.
Well, in a rush against time before Donald Trump arrives for his state visit this evening, the Speaker has granted an emergency debate on Lord Mandelson this afternoon.
With Downing Street in disarray, there are now reports the American president is expected to go easy on Sir Keir during his state visit because he understands the Prime Minister is on the ropes.
The first flight in the government's partial returns deal fails to take off with any migrants. That's due to last-minute legal challenges.
The royal family gathers at Westminster Cathedral to say its final farewell to the Duchess of Kent as her body is moved in preparation for the funeral today.
Holy Stride, you get that sinking feeling in your stomach every morning?
Families have been left horrified after 60-foot-tall warehouses were built just metres from their homes in Wigan.
And sport this morning, the Champions League is back tonight with Spurs and Arsenal both playing Spanish teams. The greatest pole vaulter of all time breaks his own world record for the 14th time, and the French flanker has been given a 12-week ban for biting at the World Cup.
More unsettled weather is on the way for the rest of this week, but today at least offers something a little drier and brighter. Full details in the forecast coming up soon.
Hello there, very good morning to you on this Tuesday morning. Thank you for your company. We're with you until 9:30. I hope you can join us. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Just hold the thought on biting because we're going to return to that, a disgusting habit. Absolutely very dangerous.
Yeah, not good.
Not good at all. But what we're going to do is cross over to Westminster, and who is there for us, Ellie?
The Shadow Chancellor Mel Stride joins us now. Good morning to you, Mr. Stride.
Good morning, Ellie.
Good morning. We've got to talk about Danny Kruger, haven't we? The first sitting Conservative MP to defect to Reform UK. I mean, this is a huge blow for your party, isn't it?
Well, it's always disappointing when a colleague does that. But I have to say I'm rather bemused by it all as to exactly why he's decided to take that step. Because I don't think he's been inside the tent agitating and trying to push us in directions that we're not naturally leaning anyway. With the possible exception of welfare, where I know Danny's view is that we should abolish the two-child cap within the welfare system, which of course would mean additional welfare spending, which is something that Reform is committed to. But outside of that, when you look at the general economic direction that we're taking, pushing towards lower taxes, more dynamic economy, a smaller state, more efficient public services, lots of big supply side reforms and so on, these are all things that I think he strongly believes in. So I'm sorry to see him go, but I don't fully understand why he's decided to do what he's done.
Well, he says the Tory party is over. He says that the brand is toxic. He says that the unity within the party is a sham. And this is someone who's been inside the party for 20 years. So if you can't hold on to someone who's been inside the party for 2 decades, how do you expect to hold on to voters?
Well, I think what is clearly the case is that we've come off the back of a very painful election in which the electorate rejected us very soundly, and we recognise that we have to do the long, hard yards of regaining trust with the electorate. And part of that, of course, is being an effective opposition. And what you've seen very recently is us holding this government to account. For example, I think you just mentioned before I came in the Mandelson Epstein scandal that's happening at the moment, the emergency debate that we've secured in the Commons today. Angela Rayner and her tax affairs, holding them to account. forcing her resignation, ultimately, holding them to account on the economy and the small boats, the illegal migration and so on. We're doing all that work, but I think we have to recognise it is going to take time for us to regain that connection fully with the electorate. But I'm confident that under Kemi's leadership we can do that, but we do need to keep our nerve.
Can you tell us a bit more about this emergency debate that you've been granted on Mandelson? What are you hoping to find out? What questions still remain for you for the Prime Minister?
Well, so on that, what we saw was the Prime Minister stand up at Prime Minister's questions and say that he had confidence in Peter Mandelson. But what we also know is that a large amount of information was provided to first the Foreign Office and then Number 10 a day before the Prime Minister stood up and gave Peter Mandelson that clean bill of health. And the questions that we have are around what did the Prime Minister know about that additional information that came to light through Bloomberg. We know that Mandelson himself was out on the airways before Prime Minister's questions saying that there was more information to come. Our suspicion is that surely the Prime Minister would have asked the right questions at that point to find out broadly what was going on, what information was in those emails, because Number 10 knew about it, his Chief of Staff would have known about it before he stood up and decided to try and brazen it out and suggest that there was nothing untoward about Peter Mandelson serving as our ambassador. So we're asking questions about, show us the information, show us the correspondence, and let a select committee of the House of Commons or others examine that information and get to the truth.
So Keir, in his defence, Mel, is saying that he was let down by his team at Number 10, that they didn't inform him of the details.
Sorry, I just don't buy that, Eamonn. I'm afraid, you know, he will have been close enough and understanding enough of the sensitivities here. He would have known that he was going into a Prime Minister's questions where he was going to get asked all about this. Prime Ministers prep very thoroughly for PMQs. It's one of the big things they do during their week. And the idea that he would not have been asking questions about what was in those emails, what do I need to be worried about, I think beggars credulity. And so that's why we're having this debate. We want this information out there so it can be properly examined and we can get the answers.
The one in, one out basis, which was supposed to happen yesterday and didn't, not that that is a surprise to many people. Is this workable, this whole process?
No, what you're seeing, Eamonn, is the number of people coming over illegally rising under this government to record levels. You're seeing a piecemeal approach to try and getting on top of it, including spending more money with the French and, trying to stiffen up border control, all those kind of things. What we need at the heart of any effective policy will be a true deterrent. The idea that those that come here illegally will be swiftly removed. That will stop the flow, and that's what you've seen in other countries like Australia that have done exactly that, and it's the policy, of course, we had in place, ready to operationalise after the general election, but of course the Labour Party scrapped the Rwanda deal altogether. So until they get on top of proper deterrents, like, for example, our deportation bill that we brought forward to Parliament, which basically disapplies the Human Rights Act when it comes to deporting people and other measures. Until they grip it in that way, I'm afraid this farce is just going to continue. So I wasn't surprised to see that flight was stopped.
But as you say, Rwanda is what you were offering as a deterrent, and that was wrapped up in its own set of legal challenges. So this is what we're seeing again here, and it's what we're going to see time and time again, aren't we, unless we leave the ECHR?
Well, so with Rwanda, we had flights booked and ready to go at the end of July. The election intervened, and of course we lost that election, so those flights didn't take off. But look, we know deterrence of that form works, because we had the Albania deal where we returned those that came from Albania to our shores straight back to Albania, and the numbers from Albania dropped by 93% almost overnight. Now, on the issue, Ellie, of the ECHR, we have a commission that's looking into that, and we've made it very clear that in the event that the ECHR is something that stands in the way of this country being able to control our borders, then the decision will be taken to leave. But it will not be done without very careful thought around all the implications, and there'll be a lot of detail around any decision or the final decision that Commission and Kemi Badenoch comes to.
Shadow Chancellor, we're just getting those unemployment figures which have just been released. They've stayed the same. Unemployment rate has stayed at 4.7%. That means that the youth unemployment rate stands at 14.1%. Young people unemployed, 634,000. So basically, what have you got to say about that?
Well, it's very disappointing. What we've seen with unemployment under this government is, with the exception of a couple of months, it's gone up every single month that they've been in office. And it's no surprise that it has, because what they've done is tax the living daylights out of business with the national insurance increases. That has been destroying jobs. Things like, you mentioned young people there, Eamonn, you know, younger people who have been getting those jobs, those part-time jobs, sometimes those lower paid jobs, those first jobs in typically sectors like hospitality. That sector is being decimated by these tax increases. About 90,000 jobs have been lost in hospitality alone since this government has come to office. So I'm afraid these figures that we're seeing now are reflective of economic mismanagement.
OK, Shadow Chancellor Mel Stride, thank you so much for your time this morning on Breakfast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, listening to all of that, Fraser Myers from Spiked Online with his take on things politically. What have you got to say? I mean, generally it can be about anything. You can be about youth unemployment, the one-in, one-out process, or Peter Mandelson. Where would you like to begin?
Should we start with Peter Mandelson?
Yeah, I mean,
so. It's pretty extraordinary, isn't it, that the Prime Minister knew that Mandelson had associations with Epstein. He knew that Peter Mandelson is someone who was shrouded in scandal. This is a man who has a nickname, the Prince of Darkness, for Christ's sake, and yet he seems to have not been very curious about these emails that were known to contain something embarrassing, even prior to PMQs. And he would go out there to the House of Commons, defend Peter Mandelson, potentially knowing that there's some information out there that could really, you know, push him over the edge, push it to the point where he would have to sack him. It is extraordinary. I don't think we've seen anything quite like it.
Is that the fault of his team for having this on Tuesday evening and not thinking to brief him fully by Wednesday lunchtime in PMQs? Or is that the fault of the Prime Minister for not being forensic enough and wanting to know what was inside those emails?
Well, I think a bad workman always blames his tools, doesn't he? And forensic is exactly the right word. What happened to the forensic Keir Starmer that we were presented with before the election? Who was going to get, you know, what happened to the squeaky clean Keir Starmer, who was going to turn the page on Tory chaos and all of these, you know, going to lead a government that's going to be whiter than white? This is clearly a big mistake. And now, obviously, a lot of attention is turning to Morgan McSweeney, Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff. He's someone who worked with Mandelson in the 2000s. He pushed very hard for Mandelson's appointment. There'll be questions asked as to maybe what role he might have played in what he presented to the Prime Minister and what he didn't. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the buck stops with Keir Starmer.
But for him to criticise his number 10 team like this so publicly shows he's pretty hacked off.
I think so, but you know, I think we've been here before. I think, you know, Keir Starmer seems to be a uniquely visionless Prime Minister, where he seems to expect everything to be done for him. I mean, look back at when he sacked Sue Gray. He seemed genuinely surprised that Sue Gray hadn't come up with the plan for what they were going to do in government, as if that's not his own job to have thought something about that before he arrives in number 10. I think what we're seeing is, you know, it's because it's not just Peter Mandelson's sacking. It's also, we've had Angela Rayner's resignation. We've had many, you know, smaller members of staff having to leave Downing Street. We're seeing the kind of thing, the kind of breakdown of the government that we were seeing after 14 years of the Conservatives. The drift has already set in after just a year. And I think that is down to fundamentally the lack of vision and drive behind this government. Well,
one in, one out was meant to be this visionary idea from Yvette Cooper when she was Home Secretary. It looks like it's still very much on the tarmac. There's one migrant meant to be deported yesterday on an Air France flight, we understand. It didn't happen, with legal challenges and threats of protest as well. What do you make of this?
I'm sure Yvette Cooper's pleased not to have to account for this now, but it is extraordinary. We warned about this when this idea was proposed. It was clearly full of holes. It was very clear that there would be legal challenges, protests. The usual kinds of charities that do these things have got involved. And, you know, the fact is that as long as we are party to things like the European Convention on Human Rights, as long as we don't reform our own Human Rights Act, as long as there is the Refugee Convention, then it's going to be basically impossible to deport people. You know, we struggle to deport even foreign criminals, even serious criminals.
Yeah.
You can often find that they have a right to stay in this country. And this is the one area, unfortunately, where, you know, the Labour government says they want to take this seriously. They've got a new Home Secretary that says she's very tough on these issues. But if they...
Let's find out.
Let's find out. But if they remain committed to the current framework of human rights, then nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
And there are other European countries who want to change the ECHR. So that might be a route. We might not have to leave it. We might be able to reform it. But this government isn't interested in joining them in changing that. So they've made a rod for their own back. And I think this is going to be really more than, say, Mandelson. This is going to be the issue that decides the election. If they don't want to win the election, then they can carry on. If they want to be out of power, then they can carry on like this. They can not change anything. But if they want to stay in, then there will need to be a radical break in status quo.
Good man, Fraser. Thank you very much indeed for your take there and your contributions this morning. Appreciate it. Let's now go to Martin Whittock. Martin Whittock is an historian, and we're talking about President Trump's forthcoming visit, which will happen in a few hours' time. He'll arrive in London tonight. And Martin, when we talk about history being made or whatever, I know it's the second state visit for Trump, which in itself is historical. But really, how important is this or not, to this whole trip?
Well, it is very, very important. There have been state visits by 12 US presidents starting in 1918 at the end of the First World War, part of the Versailles Peace Settlement. That was Woodrow Wilson. And to date, there have been 42 visits by presidents of the USA. But the key thing is, not all of those were state visits. And that's the key thing.
And so what do they get out of a state visit and being decreed a state visit? Do they get something out of it, or do we get something out of it?
Well, I think it cuts both ways, because we said they're not all state visits. And the unique thing about this one is it's a second state visit for a sitting president. Normally, when presidents come having won a second presidential election, it's tea with the monarch, it's lunch with the monarch, like Obama had and George W. Bush. But this is the full bells and whistles. This is the big thing. 1,300 troops, 120 horses, the whole thing. And I think we gain from it by deploying the soft power, whichever government's in power, of the monarchy, because, of course, our head of state is a non-political person, that is the monarch. So we gain a huge amount from that soft power, because we're saying, look how important you are, look at the grandeur, look at the history that you've now been complimented by being part of. I think they get from it as well, because there's no doubt about this, that although the USA is a republic, there is a great deal of passion in the USA for the British royal family. Trump is very pro the royal family, and I think they get from that as well. I mean, if I was going to Windsor today and 1,300 soldiers were there and 120 members of the Household Cavalry, well, it would certainly do a lot for my ego, you know, and I'm sure the same for yourselves as well. And that's the same for Trump. I mean, he might have an ego the size of a small planet, but on the other hand, you know, Windsor Castle, King Charles and the Queen, 1,300 soldiers, 120 cavalrymen. This is dramatic. He will be impressed by this. So I think it's a way of two very different countries who don't have a balance of power. Obviously, you know, this is a superpower versus ourselves. Important as we are, we're not in that league, but we can bat above that. You know, we can punch above our weight with the incredible grandeur of this. And I think the Americans like it. They appreciate it. And Trump really does. And at the moment, with this very difficult situation that Starmer's in, this kind of idea of having a personal relationship with Trump and being able to achieve things with Trump, which you'll hope, of course, will also happen when he meets him at Chequers on Thursday, is really a very, very important card to play. So both sides gain from this unique event.
Yeah, we've been talking about the threat of the whole Mandelson saga potentially overshadowing the Trump state visit. But on the other side of things, it could actually be just what Sir Keir Starmer needs, because, as you say, we've got this red carpet experience for Trump. You've got the pomp, the pageantry. I mean, all of that and that very important role that King Charles has to play in all of that will actually make things easier for Sir Keir Starmer, won't it, when it comes to the more difficult conversations about Ukraine or the Middle East?
Yes, I think so. I mean, obviously, Sir Keir is treading by the tightrope here. I believe the latest YouGov poll showed that support for Trump in the UK is 16%. That's 1/6. So that's pretty low, pretty low. But on the other hand, Starmer can say whatever people feel about President Trump. He is the president of this incredibly important country. He's crucial to events in the Middle East, in Ukraine, elsewhere. Tariffs, again, you know, people have been talking that for so much recently, but that's a big deal as well, an ongoing debate. And I think he will say that I've gained this relationship with Trump, and although there can be criticisms of that, he'll say, look, we need to work in the real world for real ends for the good of the UK. And I think he will use that as very much a pitch when people say, what's the point of this? He'll say, because it gives me an opportunity to further conversations in key areas of foreign policy, key areas in terms of tariffs, and I think he will definitely see that as being an advantage. And I think it's unlikely that from Trump's point of view, because obviously he has his own Epstein issues as well, I think it's very unlikely that he will do anything to embarrass the Prime Minister on this. If anything, he may feel that he has some kind of sympathy for somebody who has this kind of problem. Now, obviously, I can't speak for Trump on this, but I think it's more than likely that he will not try to amplify this, A, because he likes Sir Keir Starmer, but B, because he himself has, as we know, some real problems with this terrible area of Epstein. So I don't think he'll amplify that or draw attention to it. I might be wrong, but
OK. Historian Martin Whittock, thank you so very much. Thank you very much this morning. We'll leave it there. Thank you.
Now, at 21 minutes past 7, let's get a check on the weather with Aidan McGibbon.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Certainly compared with how we've started the week, it's a drier day for most of us today. Still a lot of cloud and still some showers, especially towards western coasts and more especially parts of northern and northwest England, southwest Scotland, Northern Ireland. That's where we'll see some very frequent and occasionally persistent showers moving through. Areas of cloud for many, but the brightest weather will be towards the southeast, mostly dry here, as well as parts of central Scotland. Again, avoiding a lot of the showers here. It's going to feel a little warmer because of the lighter winds compared with Monday, and also because of fewer showers and a bit more sunshine. But it turns increasingly cloudy, increasingly breezy as well from the southwest as the afternoon comes to an end. Meanwhile, for much of Scotland, we keep the showers going into Tuesday evening. The most frequent of these will be across the north of Scotland, and the showers further south through the central belt and southern Scotland tending to ease. Northern Ireland showers also easing for a time. Northwest England seeing one or two, but across parts of Wales and the southwest, the showers merging to give longer spells of rain as the evening sets in because of the next frontal system that's approaching. It also turns breezier overnight. We do keep some clear spells and some dry weather into the east and especially the northeast of Scotland, but really for much of the UK, by dawn on Wednesday, it's a very wet and very breezy picture. That means, of course, it's not going to be a particularly chilly night away from the far northeast where we keep the clear skies, but it is going to be a soggy start to Wednesday. Some heavy rain through parts of Wales, the Midlands, northern England as well. That will come and go through the day. The bands of rain push their way northeastwards. It does turn drier and brighter in places, particularly Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, northern England by the afternoon, but areas of rain will persist elsewhere, particularly across parts of Wales. It's going to feel a bit more humid, highs of 20 Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, up next in the programme this morning, changing habits. Youngsters do different things in different ways today. For instance, they are loath to pick up the telephone and make a phone call as opposed to texting. They're happy to text, they're happy to send emails, but they are quite reticent about picking up the phone and saying, "Hello, Ellie, how are you? Could you do this for me?" or whatever. They don't
They hate phone calls.
They don't like that. And
Phone anxiety.
yeah, and I've found that to be the case in my working life, and it's amazing that it doesn't make me right or them wrong, but it certainly makes it different the way I was learnt, and I think picking up the phone is a much more direct way of getting results. Okay, is it? Isn't it? We're going to be debating that next.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts Monday night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Now it's time for the Great British Giveaway and your chance to be our biggest winner to date with a prize package worth over £104,000.
It's a goodie. Matter of fact, it's never been better. Have a go.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000.
You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof lights, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model.
We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, now we're going to talk about whether you should text or phone, leave a message like that, or by email. A new study finds that phone calls mean more than firing over a text if you carry them out.
Well, 55% of Britons believe that calling someone on the phone is the most meaningful way to connect, with 84% of people saying hearing another person's voice deepens that emotional connection.
So today we're asking, should you always pick up the phone instead of texting or emailing? Debate this. We're joined by political commentators Emma Wolfe and Zain Ali Bayati. Emma, where do you stand?
Well, I think the problem is, Eamonn, we've lost the art of making phone calls. I think phone calls are great, but the problem now is our smartphones have so many indirect, methods of communication. You can leave a WhatsApp, you can do a direct, you can do a DM, you can do voice notes, you can do emails, you can do text. There are so many ways that aren't direct, actually. Whereas in the old days, with a landline or with a work phone, if you called someone, either they were there or they weren't, and they picked up or they didn't. It's incredibly bonding, and it's really, really affirming when you actually bother to sit down and chat to someone, when you both have time, when you sit and you talk person to person, voice to voice. But the problem is now people are freaked out by phone calls. They feel it's intrusive because we have our phones with us all the time. You could be anywhere doing anything.
Zain, very interested in what Emma is saying there, and this came home to me a few weeks ago when I was watching the film All the President's Men on television, which was about the American journalists Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, and played by Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford in this film. And it brought me back to when I wanted to be a journalist, and this was 1976, the year the film was released in. And what really struck me was that the reporters in the film constantly were on their phones, constantly leaving messages. It's Bob Woodward here, please return my call, I want something. And I realised that this does not happen. This does not happen in the workplace nowadays amongst people of your generation. And I just wondered, I was listening to Emma's theories as to why that should be, and I can see that. But it doesn't get things done, my friend. Do you see a difference?
I think that it's outdated to say that we should always pick up the phone. Personally, in my generation, calls often mean stress, disruption, anxiety, while texts give us control and gives us time and also allows us to have control over our tech conversations that we have with our friends, colleagues, parents, etc. Surveys also show that a majority of Gen Z also avoid unexpected calls, as they don't know what the call is going to be about, whether or not it's going to be an interview, or whether or not it's going to be something whether it will take a lot of time out of them, where it's like scheduling an event with their friends, for example. So whether they prefer to actually text message before, then they can actually see whether or not it's worth actually picking up the phone, and whether or not it's worth disturbing what they're currently doing, whether that's doing work, studying, or just anything meaningful at the time.
OK, Zain, Emma, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there because Zain's picture is frozen. I'm afraid we've got a few technical issues.
Zain, you look very lovely in your picture.
It's a lovely frozen image.
But the producer thinks we should let you go because you're not moving in any way, not that you're not talking or leaving messages. So, Emma, I'm sorry about that, but I honestly do believe, Ellie, that there is a purpose to leaving a message and speaking directly with someone. And
don't you find when you haven't spoken to a friend in a long while and then they ring you and you hear their voice, you go, oh, isn't it nice to hear their voice?
No.
It does make a difference. Oh, OK.
Because I would speak to people quite a lot on the phone.
Yeah, you're a good phone caller.
But I can see the purpose and I can see the effectiveness of getting a result, of phoning someone and say, I want to know, are you available tomorrow at 9 o'clock? Whereas I'll get a lot of people that will be saying, I've left a message for them. Well, I don't care if you left a message, get me an answer. That's what you want, and that's what journalism is all about, getting answers from people, having people who are quotable. But you heard Zayn there, the way his response was to it. What's your view? Let us know, and we'll try and return to this later on in the programme.
Now, coming up, big decisions at Manchester United. Paul Coit will be here with more on that next.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Motorists travelling on the M60 clockwise between Junction 6 and Junction 8 should anticipate some significant hold-ups due to an ongoing police incident. Lane closures are currently in place as authorities work diligently to manage the situation, with normal traffic conditions expected to resume by 8:15 this morning. On the trains, northern services are experiencing disruptions, with buses replacing trains between Corkickle and Whitehaven, while South Western Railway passengers should prepare for potential disruptions on routes between Bournemouth and Weymouth. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as
And now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello again, good to see you all again. It's that time of the morning we go back to Paul, and it was just quite interesting. He was giving Ellie a lecture, an explanation, I suppose,
Yes.
of how the Champions League works.
I said I'm very confused about the Champions League and what it is.
There are 36 teams. The top 8 will go through to the knockouts. Then the next ones underneath that, 9 to 24, will then go into a playoff, and the bottom lot get knocked out.
OK.
And then Eamonn said...
How did Spurs get there? Finishing 17th or 18th or whatever it was.
Would you like me to tell you how they got there?
No, I know how they got there. I'm not interested.
OK, Athletic Club of Bilbao will play Arsenal 5:45 and Spurs play Villarreal. I want to talk about, that's tonight, more about that coming up, the marathon. The marathon at the World Championships, World Athletics Championships yesterday.
Right.
It was a bizarre start and a bizarre end. I'll show you the end in just a second. Now, would you ever think that there was a full start in a marathon?
No.
Because the gun goes 26.2 miles.
Yeah.
So if you go like a second early, is it really going to make that much of a difference? Well, that's what happened, but so they still brought them back. They'd run 100 metres, everybody back, there was a false start. But the thing is, with all the other races, so if you false start in the World Championship in 100 metres, you get thrown out. So they didn't throw the guy out. Vincent Ngetich of Kenya. So let's have a look at the finish. So after 26.2 miles, there we are. Oh, look, that's where they're starting there. There's the medals. Now, we're going to see the end. That's what I really want to see, is that Germany's Emil Petros hit the last 100 metres. Here we are. Now, look at this. This is towards the end. They've run 26.2 miles in blazing heat. And look at these two sprinting to finish. Yeah. Alphonse Felix Simbu of Tanzania, he came through and they won by 0.05 of a second after running for about 2 hours and 10 minutes in 26.2 miles. Look at this. You would think this was a 400-metre race, wouldn't you? They've just run a marathon for crying out loud. And look how close that is.
Which one are we saying? The guy in the blue?
The Tanzanian runner, and that's the German that fell on the floor.
But it looks as if the German pulled the tape. He pulled the... Well, he has that round him.
Well, we can... for those on the radio, I'll tell you, it was so close, but we're talking 0.05 of a second.
Photo finish.
Between the two of them. So just an incredible race there at the World Championship.
Amazing.
What do you think about the biting, then? Rugby World Cup semi-final.
Oh, yes, right.
Coming up, England versus France. France flanker.
No, it is a disgusting habit. It's bad. It's bad.
It's really bad?
Yeah.
What? Actually, look at this. The picture. That is her biting... the arm of Ireland's Aoife Wafer.
She should be banned for that.
I don't know whether she has a wafer with her ice cream, as she is, but there she is. Look at that. So, what
is
actually...
Is that not banned? Is biting not...
Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is, she's going to be banned for... She's got a 12-match suspension.
She thinks no one sees her.
She accepted the red card. The length of sanction is now being appealed. She apologised on Instagram, saying on Sunday, during the match against Ireland, I lost my cool. I know it's not acceptable, and I wish to offer my sincere apologies to Aoife Wafer and the Ireland team. You should be banned for life for biting someone like that.
I just think that's very weird. Imagine having someone's arm in front of you and your first instinct is to like them.
What actually gets in the end? I mean, Luis Suarez did it about 3 times, didn't he? And then you just think, you know what, and just sink your teeth in.
Yes, that's so true.
I really do not understand.
But, you know, when you were in a fight at school, in the playground or whatever, the worst sort of crime against you was to be bitten or scrabbed like that. You know, you could stand punching, poking, all sorts, kicking, all sorts of things.
You were a kicker, weren't you, yourself?
I could have been. Yeah. And but this business of biting, no time for
biting. It's just very bizarre. It's bad enough for dogs, but really. So anyway, she's going to appeal the 12-match ban. Keep it, for crying out loud. You can't be biting someone.
No, it's bad.
Finally, I have for you another world record. We've already done Mondo Duplantis. This is an attempt at the beer mug carrying at Oktoberfest in Germany. Oliver Strumful, 31 steins of beer.
Look,
one's hit the floor already. And that would be a new world record.
Are they on a tray? Is he carrying them?
No, he's carrying them all. He has no tray. Look at them dropping.
He's dropping them.
They're dropping like flies.
Yeah.
So 31, and look, people are taking them off now. Look, you're just not doing very well. He managed... It's a disaster. 17 drinkable beers reached the table. So I'm afraid the world record stands. Unlucky Oliver. He's going to give it another go.
What is the current record? Do we know?
You know what? I think we're looking about 30. I think it's 30, and he's gone one more to try and break the record.
Wow, well, that's very impressive.
So 70 ended up nowhere near.
Nowhere near.
Things you never knew.
How many? I could probably hold 2, probably. At the
what, is that holding as in drinking or holding as in...?
Probably both, actually.
OK.
I could hold 2 and probably actually drink 1.5.
Thank you, Paul. Up next, Nigel Farage. Is he right that more Tories will defect to reform? What do you think? More on that and other stories. Scarlett Maguire, Freddie Gray, after this.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're wondering where you can go to avoid the UK's wind and rain, well, just about anywhere further south will do it, with a large area of high pressure bringing widespread dry and sunny weather. And in fact, Very warm weather to the Canaries, into Spain as well as Portugal. Central Spain at the moment seeing temperatures up to 37, 38 Celsius, much higher than average for the time of year. Not quite as hot across Central Europe, but mostly dry with plenty of sunshine. And that theme continues through the rest of the week and into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
Good morning, Graham. What's your view on the latest comments about the gender of the next James Bond? Should there be one?
Well, there obviously should be a James Bond, but it should never be a woman. I think this is something that was in the media and the press some years ago that's kind of been dragged up to a degree. It's a nonsense. It was a nonsense when it was first spoken about some years ago, and it's just as big a nonsense now. It needs to be a 6 foot tall, dark-haired, strapping, middle-aged guy. I say middle, I mean talking about 32.
Graham, like,
32 is quite young in my book.
Well, but I mean, look, Graham, what I say is that a lot of these. I mean, I know Amazon, I believe, have bought the rights to James Bond now. I mean, you've seen what they've done with some of their other shows. I'm not so convinced they're not going to go down this super woke, what I would call woke route. Is it? Do they really need to reinvent James Bond though? Because we've had so many iterations of him. They pretty much killed him off in the last movie. Do we need to reinvent the idea of James Bond, or should James Bond just retire? Should we say, actually, do you know what? We've had James Bond for almost 100 years. Actually, should we let this character rest for at least a bit of time, or maybe just retire the character before it gets destroyed by modern reinventions of it?
Well, I think there's always going to be a market. There's always going to be an audience for James Bond if those films are made the correct way. I mean, you've got a perfect blueprint. If you look at the Bond films in the 60s, and you follow that as a blueprint, you can't go wrong, because most of them are based on Ian Fleming, and it's the best Bond films are the ones that are based on Fleming's books quite closely.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Right, so Reform UK have got another contender in their party. Let's talk to Freddie Gray's Scarlett Maguire about this. This is front page of the Times this morning, Scarlett.
Yeah. So Danny Kruger, who...
Sounds like a movie star, doesn't it?
I know. I mean, he...
Well, his mother's a TV star.
Absolutely.
Prue Leith, yeah.
Prue Leith, yeah.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, the first thing some journalists thought to do was to call up Prue Leith to find out what her reaction was.
Well, I wanted to. I would have.
She apparently doesn't approve.
Oh.
No, well, they have very different views on quite a lot. I mean, they both did a joint programme on assisted dying, and he's completely opposed to it, and she's absolutely in favour. Oh. And they went round various countries looking at it. I mean, they do disagree. He does look. He also. I mean, I don't agree with what he says, but he's very articulate, very bright. I mean, he'll be a real loss to the Conservative Party. I mean, up until now, the people that Reform have got were people who'd lost their seats, whereas he is a sitting MP. And the other thing is, which is what obviously Nigel Farage is hoping, is that he's the beginning of a drip or even a flood, is because... I mean, he was so devastating. Basically, he said the Tory party is dead. And it sounded serious. It wasn't like an embittered ex-MP or deselected or whatever. I mean, it was somebody who decided that actually Reform was the party.
He went to Eton, and as my brilliant colleague James Heal said yesterday, you can tell Reform are getting serious about power when they're hiring old Etonians.
Yeah, well, they're
into
trying to
their
get ready
ranks.
for government, aren't they?
They're preparing for government. He is going to be their man for leading their department for preparing for government.
But he also made a point yesterday about the party has been in stasis for the last year. I mean, he was like, if I'd have seen any leadership from Kemi Badenoch and policies and movement in a sense that we were preparing to be the opposition, then perhaps he could have stayed.
Well, I mean, what's interesting, so when Kemi Badenoch did interviews about it, and she was somewhere on a farm with calves, she said, well, you know, this isn't, he made it clear it wasn't about me, so I'm not going to be distracted and go on for government.
Yeah,
and you think it's all... No, but of course it's about her. It's about her leadership. I mean, you know, there are an awful lot of very, very unhappy Tories. She's terrible with donors. She really doesn't like doing the bit. I think she's rather good on the media, actually, but
doesn't do enough of it, though, probably.
Well, she doesn't like it.
No. Well, she's made that.
I mean, she does not like being asked difficult questions.
Well, I mean, I strongly suspect it was deliberately timed that when they knew she was going on this channel, no less, and the news broke just before, I think, and yeah, I'd have thought that would have been done on purpose, because I think they really wanted to stick the knife in, and Danny Kruger had enough of her leadership, as he made very clear, without saying explicitly, he made it very clear in his speech.
Yeah, but if they can't keep hold of their own MPs, and their own MPs are saying, you know, this party has turned toxic, the brand is toxic, the unity is a sham, it's over, how are they going to hold on to voters?
Well, they're not at the moment. It's a dying party in many ways. And, I mean, I saw some Tories yesterday who were really depressed. This defection has depressed them far more than previous ones, because other ones they could write it off. You know, Nadine Dorries is an attention seeker. Other people are washed-up MPs who no one cares about. Danny Kruger was felt to be quite an important figure in the party, sometimes spoken about as a future Tory leader.
Yeah.
And so this one really has affected them.
What do you make of this? Nadeem Zahawi, Priti Patel, John Hayes, these are just some of the names on the front page of the Times being considered as defection targets.
Yeah, and Freddie also was talking about Suella Braverman, though one has to say that I thought Nigel Farage had said that he didn't want Suella Braverman because she was so toxic. I mean, of course, basically Reform are going to say, if you want to be in government, you're in the wrong party. And we all know, I mean, never underestimate the ambition of an MP of whatever party. I mean, that's, you know, they go in because they want to change the world or do things, whatever, and you can't at the moment do it as a Tory. So I think it's really it must be very, very difficult. I mean, you know, I know, having, you know, been part of a sort of losing Labour thing, where actually they don't normally defect. I mean, it's interesting. Tories defect to Labour. Tories defect. Labour people don't. But actually, you do feel really beleaguered when you've got everybody against you. And so, I mean, I do feel quite sorry for how... I mean, you know, he is going to... people are going to look at him and think, yeah, he's right. This is a dead party.
It's interesting, you're saying Tories defect. They also don't decapitate. They also decapitate their leaders, which is something Labour have not done. And I spoke to a Labour person last week who said, I wish we were capable of decapitating our leaders, but we're just not.
Freddie, let's have a look at adolescents, shall we, in the Mail. And this is Owen Cooper, who's just 15.
It is an amazing story.
Won an Emmy.
Yes, a 15-year-old boy wins an Emmy, toast of Hollywood, and then goes back to school in his hometown of Warrington. And he was very good in the Netflix drama Adolescence. I was not a fan of the show. I thought it was OK. I thought he was excellent in it, but I didn't find it very compelling. I thought a lot of the hype around it was over the top. I don't know why the government decided to, well, A, show it in schools, and B, make it sort of a point of, you know, everybody has to watch it in order to understand what's going on in Britain. I thought that was all over the top. But he's a very talented young man, and he's going to be playing Heathcliff in Wuthering Heights soon.
Oh, wow. Well, he's set.
Wow. He was, I thought he was amazing. He was so good that when you were watching Adolescence, which I did find completely fascinating, as it took you through the whole juvenile justice system and how actually a lot of people are trying to do their best and how difficult it is, and then a very problematic school. But he was so good that you just felt. I remember the scene in which he's talking to a sort of psychologist or something, and he's saying, "But aren't you on my side?" And she was going, "This isn't my job." Right, and he absolutely goes mad, and it wasn't like acting. It was incredible.
Such
actually.
talent. I think he's only been acting for a year. I think he's only been doing acting classes for a year or two.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible for him. 15 years old, Owen Cooper. Congratulations to him. Freddie and Scarlett, thank you very much indeed. We'll see you in about 45 minutes' time.
Right now, let's give you a weather update. Aidan McGiffin, good morning.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Certainly compared with how we've started the week, it's a drier day for most of us today. Still a lot of cloud and still some showers, especially towards western coasts and more especially parts of northern and northwest England, southwest Scotland, Northern Ireland. That's where we'll see some very frequent and occasionally persistent showers moving through. Areas of cloud for many, but the brightest weather will be towards the southeast, mostly dry here, as well as parts of central Scotland. Again, avoiding a lot of the showers here. It's going to feel a little warmer because of the lighter winds compared with Monday, and also because of fewer showers and a bit more sunshine. But it turns increasingly cloudy, increasingly breezy as well from the southwest as the afternoon comes to an end. Meanwhile, for much of Scotland, we keep the showers going into Tuesday evening. The most frequent of these will be across the north of Scotland, and the showers further south through the central belt and southern Scotland tending to ease. Northern Ireland showers also easing for a time. Northwest England seeing one or two, but across parts of Wales and the southwest, the showers merging to give longer spells of rain as the evening sets in because of the next frontal system that's approaching. It also turns breezier overnight. We do keep some clear spells and some dry weather into the east and especially the northeast of Scotland, but really for much of the UK, by dawn on Wednesday, it's a very wet and very breezy picture. That means, of course, it's not going to be a particularly chilly night away from the far northeast where we keep the clear skies, but it is going to be a soggy start to Wednesday. Some heavy rain through parts of Wales, the Midlands, northern England as well. That will come and go through the day. The bands of rain push their way northeastwards. It does turn drier and brighter in places, particularly Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, northern England by the afternoon, but areas of rain will persist elsewhere, particularly across parts of Wales. It's going to feel a bit more humid, highs of 20 Celsius.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M6 southbound, delays are due to a broken down vehicle, with journey times extended by about 40 minutes. Lane closures in Wigan add to this delay, expected until 8:15. In Hertfordshire, M25 clockwise exit slip at junction 18 faces disruption due to another breakdown with lane restrictions. Normal traffic is expected by 8:10. In Surrey, M23 southbound has a closed lane due to a breakdown, and on the trains, Gatwick Express is disrupted at Brighton, while Northern Line commuters use buses between Corkickle and Whitehaven. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
The Prime Minister refuses to resign over the Lord Mandelson scandal. He blames his team in number 10.
Sir Keir Starmer admits to knowing about communications between the former ambassador and Jeffrey Epstein, as speculation is raised around his judgment.
I knew of his association with Epstein, but had I known then what I know now, I'd have never appointed him.
In a race against time before President Trump arrives for a state visit, the Speaker has granted an emergency debate on Lord Mandelson today.
With Downing Street in disarray, there are now reports that the US President is expected to go easy on Sir Keir Starmer during his state visit because he understands that the Prime Minister is on the ropes.
The first flight in the government's partial returns deal hasn't taken off, and there are no migrants being transported due to last-minute legal challenges. Well, quelle surprise.
Breaking news within the past hour, and unemployment has remained the same at 4.7% for the government in 3 months to July.
The royal family has gathered at Westminster Cathedral to say their final farewell to the Duchess of Kent. Her body is moved for preparations for her funeral, which will take place there today.
Holy Stride, you get that sinking feeling in your stomach every morning?
Families have been left horrified after 60-foot-tall warehouses were built just metres from their homes in Wigan.
And in sport this morning, the excitement in this room is palpable, as you can imagine, because the Champions League is back tonight with Spurs and Arsenal both playing Spanish teams. Well, I'm excited about it. Sheffield United finally see Sansom reappoint Chris Wilder as manager after sacking him in June. And the greatest pole vaulter of all time from Sweden, Armand Duplantis, breaks his own world record for the 14th time.
More unsettled weather is on the way for the rest of this week, but today at least offers something a little drier and brighter. Full details in the forecast coming up soon.
Tuesday morning, a very good morning. Thank you for your company. With you until 9:30. I hope you can join us. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. It's feeling very autumnal outside. I don't know if you're feeling the
autumn
change in the
leaves
season.
down the wind.
I felt a chill in the air yesterday for the very first time.
I like autumn. I think it's my favourite. It's my favourite season.
I'll go with you on that one.
Yeah,
Well,
something about it I like.
will also go with you on that one.
Yeah?
My favourite season. It's very pretty.
If you can get sunshine and brown leaves together, it's really nice.
Yeah. Lovely combination.
And it's and being a kid, and you think of Kick of Conkers,
Halloween.
Yeah, and then Guy Fawkes Night coming up, and then that's the run-up to Christmas.
Yeah.
It's all very exciting time.
Love fireworks night. It's one of my favourite nights of the year.
Yeah, I like.
Oh, it's one of my most unfavourite nights of the year.
It's because you've got a lovely little doggy.
Yes,
who
I
probably
would have
doesn't like
them
it very
all
much.
banned. They certainly should be silent, fireworks.
I agree.
Well, I think that's probably the way it's going. Actually, drones, I think there'll be drone shows, won't it? Because then you still get the lovely display.
But it's selling them. It's like people, I remember once we had someone next door and it was just, oh my goodness me. It was like things flying over and it was noisy, and I used to love them as a kid, but now I'm with Eamonn.
Yeah, this is
I'd ban the...
as a kid you had all that fun about putting fireworks through people's letterboxes and,
those were the days.
People's pockets and things
like
that. Would you do that?
Yeah.
But did you not do that?
Well, no.
Yeah, but Blue Peter, they used to have the metal box and do the follow the firework code, and then you have to put it in the metal box and do all that sort of stuff. So if John Noakes said that's what you had to do, that's what I did.
And would you put fireworks in people's letterboxes?
No, I wouldn't. No, I wasn't as naughty as Eamonn.
Eamonn, you are naughty.
Well, what could I say? What could I say?
Was that you and your brothers?
You go through those phases, you go through those phases.
The smell of a sparkler.
I just used to
smell of a banger.
Yes,
there's just something about that word, isn't there?
There's something about that, there's me, sparkler, there's you, banger. There you go.
We used to have Catherine wheels in our garden.
Yeah.
Put it on the table, and that was about as far as we were allowed. Oh, and sparklers.
Fireworks memories, let us have them from you this morning. Coming up to 8:05 on this Tuesday morning.
Yep, and the Prime Minister is under pressure after admitting that he was aware of emails between Lord Mandelson and the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
Keir Starmer has blamed his team for not properly briefing him on the contents of emails, and he insists he will not quit over what is going on.
I knew of his association with Epstein, but had I known then what I know now, I'd have never appointed him. Because what emerged last week were emails, Bloomberg emails, which showed that the nature and extent of the relationship that Peter Mandelson had with Epstein was far different to what I had understood to be the position when I appointed him.
Well, the scandal has thrown the Prime Minister's authority into question, and he regrets defending Lord Mandelson before knowing all of the facts.
And with the Speaker granting an emergency debate that's going to happen today on the vetting of Peter Mandelson, we're asking, can the Prime Minister recover from this?
Well, let's speak now to GB News political correspondent Katherine Foster, who's in the studio with us, and still big questions for the Prime Minister, Katherine.
Huge questions for the Prime Minister. It's just 2 weeks since he said this was phase 2 of the government. We've lost Angela Rayner, had to resign. Huge reshuffle. Peter Mandelson, the US ambassador, and yesterday Paul Ovenden, director of political strategy. So for a government that promised sort of calm competence, it's really not going very well. And today there's going to be a 3-hour debate in Parliament about what happened with Lord Mandelson, and the Prime Minister's defence, fundamentally, and why he defended him in PMQs last week, is pretty much saying that all the information hadn't been put in front of him at that point, and also he would never have appointed him had he known everything that he knows now. But I think there are real questions about his political judgment, because we keep seeing these unforced errors, if you like. He did have a choice in appointing Lord Mandelson in the first place. Number 10 last week said to us that basically they decided that the risk was worth it because Peter Mandelson had great skills in schmoozing and let's face it, was very successful, has been very successful in getting this deal with Donald Trump and keeping on the right side of the US president. But it reminds me too, going back a year, I was in September, I was in Rome last September with the Prime Minister. It was after all the scandal about freebies and dresses and glasses had broke. And I did the interview on behalf of the broadcasters. And he was very much, absolutely all within the rules. And he didn't seem to just understand that something can be within the rules, but it doesn't mean that it looks OK. Now, of course, they were entitled to appoint whoever they liked to that job, but they knew that he was a convicted paedophile, and they knew that they knew that Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted paedophile, and they knew that Peter Mandelson had stayed friends with him for long after he had been put in jail. So I think there's huge questions, and I certainly wouldn't put any money on the Prime Minister leading Labour into the next election.
OK. Catherine, thank you very much indeed.
The stage is set and almost ready to go in Windsor for Donald Trump. He's going to touchdown tonight in the UK. This will be his second state visit.
Well, the American president will stay in Windsor Castle, where he'll be hosted by the King and will be treated to a lavish state banquet.
No public-facing engagements during the visit. Thousands of people expected to protest against President Trump during his two-day visit. It all comes as police say officers will be ready to respond to a potential very high threat level, with plans to secure Windsor from the skies, streets and indeed the River Thames.
Well, we're now joined by security expert Will Geddes. And just give us a sense, Will, of just how big this operation is. Hearing it's the biggest operation since the King's coronation in terms of security.
You're absolutely right. Good morning, Eamonn. Good morning, Ellie. This is, over the next couple of days, going to be a monumental security operation that is going to involve, as you mentioned, Eamonn, many, many different facets. And especially at a time where we're extremely volatile protests, and certainly in terms of the position of the United Kingdom on the world stage, the world will be watching over the next 2 days as to how well we secure President Donald Trump when he comes to visit.
And I imagine this is something that is being reviewed all the time, especially in light of the Charlie Kirk assassination last week.
Yes, indeed. Certainly in the wake of that, Ellie. I mean, there is not only that, but there is the whole issue. I mean, it's going to be a very spiky meetings with certainly Keir Starmer. As you mentioned, Windsor Castle has been very much fortified. Local residents are almost calling it a fortress now in terms of the security that's already been put in place. But the president is also then going to go to Chequers. I think, like his last visit in 2018, he isn't going to come to London. He knows that Sadiq Khan is one of his biggest fans. And it's also one of the areas where the vast majority of protests would be focused. However, having said that, there are a lot of protests that have already started amassing around Windsor Castle. In terms of security, not only is there the police, Thames Valley Police, with the obviously support of the Metropolitan Police, but there's 1,200 troops that are going to be there, 1,300 troops, excuse me, 120 odd horses. Part of the ceremonial process His Majesty is going to be laying on for Donald Trump. But there's going to be certainly a number of very, very, very delicate issues that need to be discussed. One of which will be, that the Americas are very opposed to, is the UK and particularly Keir Starmer trying to recognise a two-state solution for Palestine.
And, well, in terms of this state visit, it is all being done within Windsor Castle grounds, isn't it? Very different to the state visit that we saw with Macron. Is that being done intentionally for security reasons, would you imagine?
Yep, very much so. I mean, I would imagine that the movements by Donald Trump, and that's certainly from my professional experience, the hardest thing to manage is what we call the journey management. It's the moving from one location to another. And I will speculate that President Trump won't be moving by vehicle. He'll be moving by helicopter, probably from Windsor Castle over to Chequers and then obviously on to his ultimate destinations elsewhere out of the country. But yes, certainly in terms of the movements, that has to be carefully managed. And the security risk assessment is going to be dynamic, as we would call it, which means it's constantly adapting, constantly changing, constantly reviewing any intelligence that'll be coming in, not only from Donald Trump's own security and intelligence instruments, but also from here, MI5 and the other agencies like GCHQ.
Well, thanks for the update. Appreciate it. And we'll speak to you, no doubt, throughout the day. Appreciate that. And our weather update. Aidan McGivern, what's the weather going to be like for the president?
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Certainly compared with how we've started the week, it's a drier day for most of us today. Still a lot of cloud and still some showers, especially towards western coasts. And more especially parts of northern and northwest England, southwest Scotland, Northern Ireland. That's where we'll see some very frequent and occasionally persistent showers moving through. Areas of cloud for many, but the brightest weather will be towards the southeast, mostly dry here, as well as parts of central Scotland. Again, avoiding a lot of the showers here. It's going to feel a little warmer because of the lighter winds compared with Monday, and also because of fewer showers and a bit more sunshine. But it turns increasingly cloudy, increasingly breezy as well from the southwest as the afternoon comes to an end. Meanwhile, for much of Scotland, we keep the showers going into Tuesday evening. The most frequent of these will be across the north of Scotland, and the showers further south through the central belt and southern Scotland tending to ease. Northern Ireland showers also easing for a time. Northwest England seeing 1 or 2, but across parts of Wales and the southwest, the showers merging to give longer spells of rain as the evening sets in because of the next frontal system that's approaching. It also turns breezier overnight. We do keep some clear spells and some dry weather into the east and especially the northeast of Scotland, but really for much of the UK, by dawn on Wednesday, it's a very wet and very breezy picture. That means, of course, it's not going to be a particularly chilly night away from the far northeast where we keep the clear skies, but it is going to be a soggy start to Wednesday. Some heavy rain through parts of Wales, the Midlands, northern England as well. That will come and go through the day. The bands of rain push their way northeastwards. It does turn drier and brighter in places, particularly Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, northern England by the afternoon, but areas of rain will persist elsewhere, particularly across parts of Wales. It's going to feel a bit more humid, highs of 20 Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
And just time to brighten up your day with the Great British Giveaway.
Yep, your chance.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof light, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now do stay with us. Still to come, we're going to be joined by former England striker.
Yeah, football striker Emil Heskey. He'll be live and he's going to be talking about security at universities right after this.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts Monday night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
And with a dynastic touch, George Martin's son, Giles Martin, is involved in all of this.
Yes, so he's the keeper of his father's flame, really, which is very touching.
It's very, very touching. How can it be? I mean, we've been talking about a band here that was playing before we were able to send pictures across the Atlantic. How can a band that is that old cause such excitement today?
Well, it's such a number of elements. They encapsulated so much of the early 20th century music. Fats Domino, Chuck Berry, Little Richard,
Tin Pan Alley through Paul McCartney's father. He grew up hearing his father playing the piano. He had a big jazz band. They played around Liverpool. So all of that music went into the Beatles' crucible. And I find it so interesting that you know, Decca get ribbed for turning them down. But those early sessions are not showing them at their best. And they say guitar bands are on their way out, but actually it took the Beatles to bring them back and show everybody a completely different scene, a completely different imagination of what guitar music can be. It took the Beatles 3 albums to really get into their stride, because their first 2, let's not forget, were sort of covers in a way. So there's a few of their own songs in there, but
a lot of covers.
But with Hard Day's Night, it's all their own tracks. And they, what can I say? The energy of them, the invention of them, when you watch Get Back, you see how much craftsmanship they put into constructing a completely unique song. That's the thing about the Beatles. Each song is so unique. There's no replication in any of their output.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Let's say hello, good morning and welcome back to Paul, who's here with everything that's relevant in sport. My friend, what have you got?
Champions League is back tonight.
Yep.
It's the Swiss method that they're going with now. Second year of that, 36 teams. So it's not like lots of leagues. It's all drawn and then basically you get 8 matches, 4 home, 4 and away. Spurs will be playing Villarreal from Spain. You know, the Yellow Submarine? Yeah, they had the wall because they're all dressed in yellow at that home ground, so that's who they're playing. So I don't know whether the Submarine is going to be coming to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium tonight, which would be interesting.
Interesting, but that game's at 8 o'clock, which I'd imagine 7:45 or 8 o'clock. But at 5:45, unusual kick-off time for the Arsenal.
Arsenal play Athletic Club of Bilbao. We've got pictures of Mikel Arteta arriving at the training ground. Can we have a little look at the pictures of Arteta? There he is, just as he was arriving.
Looking well, isn't he?
He is looking well. He is looking well,
He's looking sharp. He's looking happier than he normally does.
That's just as he came through. And just before the press conference, there he is. Changes. I like the way he matches that roll neck jumper with the background there.
Yeah.
But let's hear after this what he had to say about the game when they play Bilbao in Spain tonight.
Well, that tells you, with our long history, how difficult it is because we haven't won it yet, and that's the opportunity. That's how I see it. You know, the pressure is the opportunity that thrives, that energy, that willingness to be better every single day, to make decisions that are in that direction, and every decision. Then, if we win not that much, every decision has to be with that standards and with those expectations, and let's give our best chance to try to do it.
Doing very well in the Champions League this year.
That takes a lot for you to say.
It was very difficult for me to say.
We did very well.
But it's true. But Spurs, shall we? And I think we can hear from Thomas Frank as well. Now, you like Thomas Frank, don't you?
I
think you've got a good manager with him.
He's a good manager. It's his first time in the Champions League, so he's going to experience it for the first time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium tonight. He looks pretty excited about it. This is him from yesterday.
It's a fantastic opportunity or experience tomorrow. I'll call it experience tomorrow in many ways. You say we played with Brentford in Championship at Griffin Park, small, compact stadium, and tomorrow we are playing in one of the best stadiums in the world, if maybe the best, again, in front of our fantastic fans. It's European night. We know they will be absolutely on it. It will be so special. So, really looking forward to the first 2 minutes and the Champions League anthem, and then his focus on the game.
in the Champions League. So Liverpool are playing Atletico Madrid. Tomorrow, Bayern Munich have got Chelsea. Manchester City will play Napoli, and that's on Thursday. They're splitting them now across from Tuesday to Thursday. You know what? We've got a legend, a footballing legend.
An absolute footballing England
legend.
international.
Absolutely.
And we say hello, good morning, and welcome, Emil Heskey.
Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone doing?
Listen, we're great. It's great to see you, Emil. So
I can't see him. I'm glad you can see him.
He's looking great. Emil, I've got to ask you, who do you like in the Champions League there? Who do you think stands the best chance out of all those that we went through? No favouritism, please, if that's OK.
Look, you know who I'm going to say, especially sitting nice and pretty at the top of the Premier League.
So I've got to ask you, though, Man City... Your boys are playing there, though, still, aren't they? Is there any chance that they may be stepping up to play in the tournament? Were they chosen to play in it?
They're not chosen to play. They're only 19 and 17, so they've got a long career ahead of them. But fingers crossed, as a parent, I'd love to see them get on that football pitch at some stage.
Because these days, you've got 15-year-olds, there's 16-year-olds, so really they're not as young as maybe they would have been a few years ago when you started playing.
Yeah, well, I started at 17 as well, so my youngest is 17, so there is a chance that he could possibly. The funny thing is, now as a parent looking at it, whenever they step onto that pitch, I'm just glad that they get the opportunity to do so.
And do the boys play as strikers, Emil?
Well, one's a winger, one's a left winger, he's right-footed. We've come to that dawn of age where wingers are, they play on the opposite wings now, so... One's a left winger and he's right-footed, and the other one's a number 8. He's a midfielder.
Listen, the thing about parents, though, is that we've seen so many parents in football, and, you know, when you've got youngsters and there's so many pushy ones, I'm sure you weren't like that and you would have seen them. But was there any choice? Were they always going to be footballers? Did they just look at Dad and just say, this is what we want to do, or is it in the genes that it was always going to happen?
I think it's more in the genes. I think... As a parent, you just allow them to do whatever they want and find their own way. We found that at a young age, the eldest one, he really gravitated to football. We took him to soccer camps and stuff, and then ended up in Man City's academy. And then obviously the younger one's going to follow in his footsteps, and his big brother's footsteps. So, and it's just been progression from since then. They've been at the City Academy for probably going on 15 years now. So. They're feeling like a bit like furniture in there now.
Emil, do you still have a kick around in the back garden, though? You know, you've got these coming up there, 19 and 17, great footballers, and they're you. Not
with them, not with them. I actually, about 4 years ago, I decided to try and go for a run with the eldest one, and it was the worst thing I could ever have done. I only managed to do probably half of it.
Because there's that thing about footballers, and we always know that, and professional athletes, even when they retire, that will to win is still always there.
But meanwhile, Emil, we are a week ahead of Freshers Week, and you've got the launch of a new student safety app. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's a student safety app. It's obviously with the launch of the Freshers Week now, everything's about safety. Keeping the kids safe. I've got 2 teenagers we talked about there playing football, but going out when they're going to university, it's all about knowing that they're safe on campus, knowing that they've got the opportunity to report things if they want to report things, and we've done the research in showing that 1/3 of the students who have joined or are there don't feel safe on campus. So we decided to launch this. Well. It wasn't me, but I put my name behind it.
You know what? I've got a daughter that started last year. My son starts on Saturday, which you know I'm dreading. So it all sounds like a really good idea. Is it easy to download then? Is there just the website, or how do we do that?
It's an app. It's an app you can find on App Store. It's easy to download, and then you obviously put your email in, and you're all connected. Then it's about reporting certain things when you see them. A lot of the students say that they don't know where to report stuff. So this is kind of bringing it to a central point to try and report and help the universities keep their students safe. That's what it's all about.
What did you think about safety when you were at uni?
It was,
Did you worry?
Yeah, it was definitely a concern. When I was in a house of girls, walking home late at night.
Sure.
We just always have to be together in groups. So something like this, Emil, would have been great back in the day. It's great that it's there now.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people don't really look at these sort of things, and it's only now that we're starting to look at it, obviously after a tragedy that happened in Nottingham. But it's definitely something that the university should get on board with and keep their students safe.
Yeah.
Emil, I've got one more very quick one for you. Chelsea playing at Bayern Munich, in Munich, one of your greatest nights. Would you say that was the greatest night playing for England there at the Bayern Munich Stadium that time?
I think so. Wherever I go in the world, I always meet England fans, and that's the first thing they actually say. And it's all generations as well.
Yeah.
I was sat watching my son play once, and a young lad turned around at half time and says, "Oh, I can remember that Munich goal and the Munich game and blah blah blah." And I'm looking at him thinking, how old would you have been at that when that was being played? I think he would have been. I think he would have been 7 at the time. He was talking about watching it with his granddad. So makes me feel old, but no, it was a great memories for everyone.
But do you miss playing, Emil?
I actually don't miss playing. I miss the camaraderie and training, but I don't actually miss the playing. I actually enjoy watching my sons play now. I actually go and watch them and just love watching them play.
Good man. Good talking to you. Thanks very much indeed. And good luck with your student safety app as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
He's a nice man.
Proper legend.
Very nice man. Yeah. That's like when I leave here, I'll be like, will I miss the work or would I miss my friends around me? I'd miss the work. I'd miss the work.
And people talk about your great games as well. They go, "Oh, Eamonn, I remember that day."
I remember nothing.
yeah. I'm good from then. It's yesterday I can't remember, but all the stuff from then, I'm pretty good.
Well, let's see if you can remember what the traffic's doing. Here it is for the day ahead.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the A1 southbound between the A692 and A167 near Washington Berkeley, an accident has closed 2 lanes, causing significant delays. In Trafford, the M60 clockwise between Junction 6 and Junction 8 is closed due to a police incident, resulting in hour-long delays. Motorists should seek alternative routes. Additionally, on the M25 clockwise exit slip at Junction 18, a broken-down vehicle is causing lane closures. And on the trains, disruptions on the Gatwick Express at Brighton are reported, and northern buses are replacing trains between Corkicle and Whitehaven. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, President Trump's state visit is just hours away. Will he go easy on the Prime Minister? More on that and other stories in the papers with Freddie Gray and Scarlett Maguire. But before all of that, let's get a check on the European weather.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're wondering where you can go to avoid the UK's wind and rain, well, just about anywhere further south will do it, with a large area of high pressure bringing widespread dry and sunny weather, and in fact very warm weather to the Canaries, into Spain as well as Portugal. Central Spain at the moment seeing temperatures up to 37, 38 Celsius, much higher than average for the time of year. Not quite as hot across Central Europe, but mostly dry with plenty of sunshine, and that theme continues through the rest of the week and into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
We're going to have a look on the some of the stories that are touching the news today from the front pages of the papers. And here we begin with the Times, leading with the Mandelson emails, adding pressure on the Prime Minister.
The Guardian reports that the crisis grows for the Prime Minister as an aide quits over lewd remarks about Diane Abbott.
The Sun news that Madeleine McCann is likely to have been stolen to order for a paedophile gang.
The Daily Star reports that Prince Harry says he's happy with his new life and insists he didn't air his dirty laundry.
And here with their comments on those stories and more, Deputy Editor for The Spectator, Freddie Gray, former Labour advisor, Scarlett Maguire. Lovely to have you both with us this morning. Scarlett, here's something I want to begin with, which is from The Guardian, inside The Guardian today. And it says, researchers have found that the more verbose the language and used in atonement, in other words, saying sorry, you've got to mean it and it works.
Well, I mean, I think thinking about it, it's obvious, isn't it? It's people who go, sorry, 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 and you think they don't mean anything, they're just saying it. So this says the more effort you put into an apology, the more effect it will have. And this is a professor from the Royal Holloway College University, and in the British Journal of Psychology. And one of the examples it quotes is that Stephen Fry, when he really offended Marylebone Cricket Club by describing them as stinking of privilege and classism, wrote a long, most of us thought completely over the top apology. And actually, it worked. It worked because people felt that he really was apologised. Where that, I mean, one of the great political apologies is, I'm sorry if I offended anybody, which means you're not sorry at all and you don't think they should have been offended.
Peter Mandelson, do you think he was sorry? He did quite a lot of apologising in the past couple of weeks about emails and apologising for things that were yet to come.
Well, I think Peter Mandelson was very sorry, and he did a good apology, saying, you know, first of all, the girls who were
Yes.
In the Epstein scandal, it was terrible, and then, you know, I'm sorry that I knew. But really, the person Peter Mandelson felt sorry for was himself. I mean, we all know that he was really sorry.
I think that's exactly it. But the confusion now is between feeling sorry and feeling sorry for yourself, and that's exactly what Peter Mandelson.
So
you know,
he was always in a losing position, wasn't he?
He did that sort of interview where he was saying, "I'm full of regret over my friend. I should not have carried it on." Blah, blah. And then he got into what he really thought about it, which is, this is an albatross around my neck.
Yes.
Which is, poor me. I'm still being dogged with questions about this story after all this time. And that's it. And the political apology is really now a statement of self-pity.
OK, interesting. Sorry seems to be the hardest word, Ellie.
I've got the silly British thing of saying sorry when I really don't need to or mean to. I do when I go to America. I get it all the time. I just.
But
I just
actually, also
say
Canadians are famous for saying sorry all the
Are they?
time.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I mean, but actually, I think we do it more. But it's very interesting. So I have a good friend of mine, and he'll apologise about anything. He'll apologise about the weather, anything that he isn't really responsible for. He'll apologise for. Well, when he's a bastard, won't apologise at all.
Oh, right. Or other words
Or
may be
otherwise.
used.
Sorry.
Sorry.
So sorry.
No, I really am sorry. I am very sorry. I should not have said that.
Scarlett, somebody who's not apologising is Prince Harry.
No.
He says, my conscience is clear.
He
didn't air his dirty laundry.
No, well, because he's obviously decided that he's on a charm offensive in Britain, and one of the things that will make us love him again is if he's nice to his dad. And he does realise that his dad, you know, is the wrong side of 70 and hasn't got all that long and has had cancer, and actually he's trying to make it up. And
Is it too little too late, though?
No, I think
his dad in, what, 18 months?
I know, but actually, no, I think it's never too late. I think the thing about your parents, can I say this to everybody, is even when they die, they're not gone, and you really, really need to have sorted out your relationship with them beforehand. And I think he's doing absolutely the right thing.
Ready?
I mean, yes, of course, he's doing the right thing on that level. I do also think it's very obvious there's a very coordinated PR campaign to rehabilitate Harry in the public's eye. And this interview he's given...
Why, Freddie? Why do you think... I mean, I was saying yesterday, we don't hear much of Meghan, we don't see much of him in America, and one wonders, are they heading for the rocks or something? Is this for life beyond Meghan?
I think that's probably what a lot of people think, and one should never wish for marriages to end.
No.
But I think a lot of people in Britain think, actually, we'd quite like the old Harry back, let's get her out the picture, she's a nightmare. And that's why this PR campaign has really just been about Harry. There's been very little mention of Meghan. And we keep hearing rumours and reports that you know Harry occasionally stays in a hotel on his own. These rumours, allegations, not confirmed. But I think everybody assumed that she is such a nightmare that he is going to leave her at some point. But he hasn't yet.
Well, we understand they're very happily married.
Very happily married, and we wish them all the best.
Yes.
And I'm sorry.
Yes, and I think it's terrible that she gets all the blame when, you know...
I agree with that.
There's always two sides
He's
to a
been
bad
terrible
marriage.
too. I totally agree with that. They're both ghastly, frankly. Sorry.
Freddie, let's have a look at Rubio, shall we, in the Telegraph.
Yes, Marco. Well, just on the eve of Donald Trump coming to Britain, Marco Rubio has said that Britain recognising Palestine as a state would have absolutely no impact whatsoever. And this is a little bit of a diss, diplomatically, from America to Britain to say, you can do that, but no one's going to care that Britain has done this. And there is, of course, a UN meeting later this month, which is going to be the big showdown where various states are going to say, Israel, we've had enough, we're going to recognise Palestine as a state because we disapprove of what you're doing. And America almost certainly won't, and that's going to be the friction point. And Rubio, I think, I'm afraid to say, is right. Britain is doing this. It's going to get some headlines. We recognise...
France doing the same thing.
France doing
and Canada.
it. Belgium's going to do it.
Yeah.
Belgium. Don't forget about Belgium.
And even that won't make any difference?
Well, I think it will just be headlines, won't it? We all recognise it. It will show that Israel is being alienated in the court of global opinion.
I mean, I think it is quite important. It's saying that, you know, what they're planning for Gaza, which is basically ethnic cleansing, is absolutely against what we want. What we want is a Palestinian state and an Israeli state side by side. And I think what you've got to say is this isn't good enough. I mean, remember, the UN has just found this morning, I mean, Israel guilty of genocide. I mean, it's quite serious what is happening out there. I mean, the Israeli Defense Force said, this is not Hamas, this is the Israeli Defense Force, said they think they've killed 200,000 Palestinians. I mean, that is just terrible.
No, I was not meaning to belittle that. I was just saying that I don't think that these sort of statements at UN General Assembly are going to make massive differences internationally.
No, I mean, the only person who can make a difference outside Israel is Donald Trump. There's no question about that.
70 minutes now before 9 o'clock. We will just hit a very short break. Still to come, we'll be speaking to Alex Davis-Jones for the government and very, very shortly. But before all that, here's the weather picture. Aidan McGivern with a brief look.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Certainly compared with how we've started the week, it's a drier day for most of us today. Still a lot of cloud and still some showers, especially towards western coasts and more especially parts of northern and northwest England, southwest Scotland, Northern Ireland. That's where we'll see some very frequent and occasionally persistent showers moving through. Areas of cloud for many, but the brightest weather will be towards the southeast, mostly dry here, as well as parts of central Scotland. Again, avoiding a lot of the showers here. It's going to feel a little warmer because of the lighter winds compared with Monday, and also because of fewer showers and a bit more sunshine. But it turns increasingly cloudy, increasingly breezy as well from the southwest as the afternoon comes to an end. Meanwhile, for much of Scotland, we keep the showers going into Tuesday evening. The most frequent of these will be across the north of Scotland, and the showers further south through the central belt and southern Scotland tending to ease. Northern Ireland showers also easing for a time. Northwest England seeing one or two, but across parts of Wales and the southwest, the showers merging to give longer spells of rain as the evening sets in because of the next frontal system that's approaching. It also turns breezier overnight. We do keep some clear spells and some dry weather into the east and especially the northeast of Scotland, but really for much of the UK. By dawn on Wednesday, it's a very wet and very breezy picture. That means, of course, it's not going to be a particularly chilly night away from the far northeast where we keep the clear skies, but it is going to be a soggy start to Wednesday. Some heavy rain through parts of Wales, the Midlands, northern England as well. That will come and go through the day. The bands of rain push their way northeastwards. It does turn drier and brighter in places, particularly Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, northern England by the afternoon, but areas of rain will persist elsewhere, particularly across parts of Wales. It's going to feel a bit more humid, highs of 20 Celsius.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
How can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
What I want to talk about now, though, is a Christian street preacher who was shut down by London's Transport Police outside King's Cross Station. Now, she has exclusively spoken to GB News, claiming that Christians are being heavily persecuted in this country and that police are not doing this to other religious speakers. Shocking, indeed, if true. Well, are we living in this two-tier approach by the authorities that we hear so much about. I'm delighted to say I am joined now in the studio by that street preacher herself, Monique Vale.
It is true that the police did tell us that you need a permit, so that is truth, but it's the way it was handled. She was very... It was just astonishing. I just couldn't believe how a police person could come against us like that. Like, we were abiding by the rules. And by the way, I didn't actually put the full clip on just to, in a way, save her, because it actually got worse.
OK.
Yeah.
Monique, can I just quickly ask, if you take a step back and look at Britain, you know, as a Christian, you see the demonstrations that we've had since October 7th, some would say pro-Hamas, anti-Israel demonstrations, pretty overt displays of anti-Semitism. We've had the Lucy Connolly case, we've had, I would argue, clear evidence of a two-tier approach within our judicial legal system. Do you think that we are actually now entering a society where some groups, some religions are treated much more harshly than others? Do you think, for example, if you had been a Muslim preacher in King's Cross Station, the reaction would have been the same?
Yeah, of course, every religion gets something thrown at them, but I do think, of course, Christianity is the most persecuted, and I do think we will see it more.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Now, we were in the middle of having a conversation with Scarlett and Freddie about stories making it into the newspapers today, but unfortunately, guys, we've got to say goodbye to you. So thank you for your contributions this morning, because we're crossing now to Westminster, and there Scarlett is, or Ellie even.
The Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for Victims, Alex Davis-Jones, joins us now. Good to see you this morning, Alex. Can we start by talking about the Hillsborough Law, which I know you're here to talk to us about today. The government is bringing this in, aren't they? A legacy for the 97 people lost at Hillsborough. Tell us about the changes that this law is going to bring in.
Absolutely. So this is a watershed moment for the campaigners, the families and the bereaved, and all those people who lost someone at Hillsborough disaster. And although this bill bears the name the Hillsborough Law, it also stands for anyone who has been failed by the state. I'm thinking of all those families from the Grenfell tragedy, from the infected blood scandal, the post office scandal, and sadly far too many. But this bill has two very distinct parts that will change our British culture forever. So the first part is that it will now bring in force a legal enforceable duty of candour on all public servants in the country. That means, quite frankly, that every public servant will be bound to tell the truth. They will be bound by honesty, openness and accountability. And if they fail to disclose any information at an inquest or inquiry, then there will be criminal sanctions attached to them for that failure to disclose, and that could be up to 2 years in prison. But the other part of this law, which is something that I feel is so important and the families have told me is so vitally needed, is the biggest expansion of legal aid regeneration. Because for far too often, families have told us that they feel powerless against the big army of the state. This David versus Goliath, the Mr. Bates versus the post office. So never again will families and the bereaved have to face the indignity of having to crowdfund for legal representation. They will now be offered that support and that legal advice in an inquest where the state is involved, and that is non-means tested, and all families will be eligible for this.
Alex, it's very interesting hearing you talk about that and outline those aims and ambitions, and hopefully all of that will become law. But isn't it just somewhat disturbing, more than somewhat disturbing, that we don't have those situations already in position? I mean, that every public servant should be compelled to tell the truth. You'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
Well, exactly, Eamonn. This is a sad indictment on our public life when we have to create a criminal offence for public servants, people who are there to serve the public and do their jobs with openness, honesty and transparency, are failing to do so. They're not telling the truth. And history tells us that that's exactly what's happened, specifically in these big state disasters, be that Hillsborough, Grenfell, infected blood, nuclear test veterans, Primados. The list, sadly, does go on. And we need this law to ensure that all public servants act with that candour, with that compassion, with that duty to tell the truth. And if they don't, then there will be criminal consequences.
The Tories have been granted an emergency debate on the Mandelson scandal this afternoon. Essentially, the Prime Minister speaking yesterday, blaming the team at Number 10 for not briefing him properly ahead of PMQs about the contents of those emails. Is there going to be an internal inquiry or an internal review to see where this process failed, either through vetting or through briefing, where the Prime Minister was able to defend Lord Mandelson at PMQs without knowing the extent of those emails?
Well, the Prime Minister was very clear yesterday when he stated that had he have known what he knew at the point of appointing Mandelson as ambassador to the United States, that would never have happened. Those emails were truly abhorrent, and I was disgusted when I read what was in them, and it is right that Mandelson has been removed as ambassador. He had to go. But that also speaks to why I'm here today, to talk about this duty of candour, to talk about that necessity to tell the truth, to disclose all information available so that nothing is left uncovered, particularly in public life. It is so important to all of the general public that we rebuild that trust in politics again and in public service, and that we ensure that everyone acts with dignity, respect, and we seek to have that accountability.
And you know, definitely agree with you, Alex, once again on that, but it just raises another point, and that is, which you can't really legislate against, the judgment, the common sense, the judgment of, in this particular case, Keir Starmer.
Well, I stand by the Prime Minister and his judgment. He was decisive in removing Mandelson as soon as he became aware of the nature of the relationship with Epstein.
But
he has been decisive in
why
ensuring
wouldn't he have
that
known?
deportations...
But, Alex, the point is, do you not think it's odd that he didn't know what was in the emails? And that, I mean, yes, he's blamed his staff around him and he said, these guys didn't let me know. But I sit there and I think, well, if I was Prime Minister, that's the thing I would want to know.
And the Prime Minister has been quite honest in saying that as well. You know, he has answered those questions quite robustly around that, yes, perhaps he should have known. And the vetting process we will always keep under review. But it is important that Mandelson has gone. He stands for everything I stand against in terms of supporting victims. And my thoughts are always with the victims here. But the Prime Minister is getting on with the job of delivering for the British public what they elected him to do. And we have President Trump arriving in the United Kingdom today. We're building on that special relationship, working together with our two great nations. And we are ensuring that we are getting on with that change that the British public desperately need, that hope. We are turning a corner, Eamonn, and that is what we're doing, getting on with the job.
It is a question of judgment, though, isn't it? I mean, it's not just with Mandelson. It's the freebies scandal of last year. It's winter fuel. It's welfare. It's political judgment. Do you have trust in his judgment in spite of all of this? And are you confident that he's going to lead you into the next general election? Because there's big questions now and people thinking seriously about new leadership. We're hearing Andy Burnham potentially making moves.
Well, I have trust and faith in the Prime Minister and the British government that we are delivering on the priorities. We're ensuring that NHS appointments, 5 million extra, smashing our target of 2 million, ensuring wages are going up, inflation is coming down, net migration is coming down, you know, investment going up, ensuring that the British people feel better off. That is what we're delivering for the British public. That is what the Prime Minister stands for. That is what I, as the Victims Minister, stand for, in delivering for victims of all of these state-related deaths and tragedies. And that is what we're getting on with the job.
Alex Davies, just in about 20 seconds, we're tight for time. 1 in, 1 out deal. We failed to get one migrant out yesterday on an Air France flight. This is a farce, isn't it?
We have deported 35,000 people with no right to be here since we came into office. We are moving further and faster than the previous government ever did. This deal that we've done with France for 1 in, 1 out is a landmark deal, and we will be determined to get people on these deportation flights as soon as possible.
Alex Davies-Jones, thank you very much for your time on Breakfast. We'll be back in a few moments' time.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the trains, there is a disruption on the Gatwick Express at Brighton, and Northern buses replace trains between Corkicle and Whitehaven. Coming to roads, the M6 northbound at junction 38 is closed due to a collision, causing delays of around 30 minutes. In Gateshead, the A1 southbound between the junctions of the A692 and the A167 faces congestion, with 2 of 3 lanes closed. 30-minute delays are expected. Additionally, in Slough, the M4 eastbound has a broken down vehicle between Junction 5 and Junction 4B, leading to significant slowdowns. As always, for more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. The Prime Minister refuses to resign over the Lord Mandelson scandal, blaming the team in number 10.
OK, so he says it was their fault, but he admits to knowing about communications between the former ambassador and Jeffrey Epstein, as speculation raised around his judgment.
I knew of his association with Epstein, but had I known then what I know now, I'd have never appointed him.
It's now a race against time before Donald Trump arrives for his state visit. The Speaker has granted an emergency debate on Lord Mandelson today.
With Downing Street in disarray, there are now reports that the American president is expected to go easy on Keir Starmer during his state visit because he understands the Prime Minister is, in his words, on the ropes.
Yes, phase 2 of the government is an absolute car crash so far. 3 resignations, stroke sackings. Donald Trump arriving with the potential, of course, for things to get even worse.
The first flight in the government's partial returns deal fails to take off with any migrants. That's due to last-minute legal challenges.
Well, sources were reluctant yesterday to put a date on when these first migrant flights would take off. Today they're going to try again.
And breaking news in the last hour, unemployment has remained the same at 4.7% in the 3 months to July.
The royal family gather at Westminster Cathedral to say their final farewell to the Duchess of Kent as her body is moved in preparation for her funeral later today.
All this strain, you get that sinking feeling in your stomach every morning.
Families have been left horrified after a 60-foot tall warehouse was built just metres from their homes in Wigan.
More unsettled weather is on the way for the rest of this week, but today at least offers something a little drier and brighter. Full details in the forecast coming up soon.
On radio and television, online. We're with you until 9:30 this morning. Hope you can stay with us. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
The Prime Minister under continued pressure this morning after admitting he was aware of emails between Lord Mandelson and the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
Whilst Keir Starmer has blamed his team for not properly briefing him on the contents of the emails and insists he will not quit over the scandal.
I knew of his association with Epstein, but had I known then what I know now, I'd have never appointed him. Because what emerged last week were emails, Bloomberg emails, which showed that the nature and extent of the relationship that Peter Mandelson had with Epstein was far different to what I had understood to be the position when I appointed him.
Scandal has thrown the Prime Minister's authority into question as he regrets defending Lord Mandelson before knowing all the facts.
And with the Speaker granting an emergency debate on the vetting of Peter Mandelson, we're asking, can the Prime Minister recover from all of this?
Well, joining us now in the studio, our political correspondent Katherine Foster with her take on this. How serious is this, Katherine?
I think it's exceedingly serious because there are Labour MPs now actively and openly talking about how they might get rid of the Prime Minister. It's unhappiness that has been there within the Labour Party for quite some time. I mean, it began really with the handling of the dresses, the freebies, which was a year ago, got worse with the winter fuel, cuts, the welfare, attempted welfare reforms, and then a terrible summer of Nigel Farage just hogging the headlines on small boats. But this, I think, this supposed phase 2 that began a fortnight ago has taken dissatisfaction with the Prime Minister to an entirely different level. So he's lost his Deputy PM, Angela Rayner. He's had to sack the US Ambassador Peter Mandelson. Paul Ovenden, his Director of Political Strategy, stood down yesterday over very, very sexually explicit messages which have emerged. This is a government that promised calm, promised a return to competence and no scandal. At the moment, what I think is keeping the Prime Minister safe is that they don't have anybody lined up to replace him. Andy Burnham, who would be probably the favourite, certainly the favourite with Labour Party members and around the country, Mayor of Greater Manchester, would need a seat. There is a seat that they think might become available, but he'd have to fight for it. Would he beat Reform? Because at the moment, Reform are riding so high in the opinion polls, they would throw everything at that. And also, it's not as easy to get rid of a Prime Minister as it is with the Tories. They'd need to get 80 MPs, 20% of all of them, to stand behind another candidate. So I think he is in real trouble. I think after the local elections in next May, that could be a crisis point. Of course, I mean, it could come sooner than that, which is extraordinary to say when you think that he won, you know, a massive majority just over a year ago.
We've got this emergency debate this afternoon, haven't we? Do you think this threatens to overshadow the US state visit with President Trump landing tonight?
Well, it's the last thing they want. David Davis, the Conservative MP, has got this 3-hour debate tabled to dig into the Epstein and Mandelson relationship, what Number 10 knew when, why he was appointed, despite the fact that, you know, it was widely known that Peter Mandelson was friends with Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted paedophile, and had maintained that friendship for long after Epstein had been convicted. That was known, but Number 10 thought that it was, as we were told in a lobby briefing last week, basically a risk worth taking because of Peter Mandelson's great qualities in schmoozing. Now, they would think that it has helped them with President Trump. But, of course, this is all unravelling as the man himself, President Trump, touches down at 9 o'clock tonight.
Oh, dear. Katherine, thank you very much.
The first flight under Keir Starmer's partial returns deal with France has been delayed after protests from charities and threats of legal action.
Well, the flight went ahead without any migrants on board, and there are several more flights planned throughout this week.
But could this huge blow for the government see no migrants sent back to France as was originally promised?
Well, we're joined now in the studio by GB News' Home and Security Editor, Mark White. And what do we understand actually happened yesterday, Mark?
Well, they were planning to send a grand total of 1 small boat migrant back to France yesterday, but there was what they were expecting, what we all could have predicted would be the case, a last-minute interjection, an appeal to the courts to try to stop that flight taking place, or at least stop that migrant being put on this scheduled Air France flight over to Charles de Gaulle Airport. And it worked because, of course, if you submit a legal challenge, even if there's not a real basis for a challenge at the end of the day, it still has to be considered, and that can't be done in the space of an hour or two. It could take a day or more for those cases to actually be then considered by a judge and the particular merits of the case evaluated. So this is likely, I think, to happen throughout the course of this week, with each of these migrants who've been earmarked to go to France being challenged or challenges submitted on their behalf. And look, it's not just the sort of legal challenges. There is now a well-orchestrated campaign by NGOs, by charity groups as well, to bombard Air France and associated sort of allies with Air France, to tell them to change their mind, to tell them not to take these migrants across to France, even urging pilots that might be in charge of the flight to refuse to fly because of the potential for disruption.
So what happens next, Mark? I mean, is that the idea? Is it dead in the water now?
It's not dead in the water, no. It's just they're running into the problems. A microcosm, to be honest, of what we saw with Rwanda. Those were legal challenges that just continued on, not for weeks or months, but actually for years before the government was finally over the hurdle of challenges. I don't think it will be the same in terms of the breadth of the legal challenges this time, because what are you talking about? You're not talking about sending them off to Africa. You're talking about sending them back to a safe country, the safe country that they were in just prior to crossing the channel illegally to the UK. So in theory, it should be easier for the government to get over the hurdles. But what I say is, you know, if someone mounts a legal challenge, it's going to take some time in the court. Not necessarily a very long time, but certainly a challenge running into days. So it could actually scupper it this week. We might get some migrants off during the course of the week. But listen, we're only talking about maybe sending less than 50 across the channel this week. We might be lucky if we see more than a dozen go across the channel this week.
OK. Mark White, thank you very much. Well, it's time for the Great British Giveaway now, and your chance to be our biggest winner to date with a prize package worth over £104,000.
All we can say is good luck to you. Here's Hayley Sparks with the details.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof light, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck. We wish you all the best with that.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, the stage is being set in Windsor for President Trump's historic second state visit. But what should we expect? We're going to be telling you more next.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts Monday night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel. You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Just looking ahead, we're telling you that the stage is set. It's almost ready to go in Windsor for Donald Trump. He's going to touch down this afternoon, tonight, around sometime. This will be his second state visit.
Well, the US president will stay in Windsor Castle, where he'll be hosted by the King and be treated to a lavish state banquet.
There'll be no public engagements during the visit, with thousands of people expected to protest against the president during his two-day visit.
Well, this comes as Donald Trump's relationship and love for the royal family is believed to be the key to a successful state visit.
We're now joined by commentator and historian Rafe Hadel-Mancu. Rafe, very good to see you, my friend. Have you got a state of anticipation for this? I mean, is this purely a political visit, or how do you see it?
I think it's crucial at the moment. I mean, people often wonder whether there is much value to these sorts of visits. Britain is still the world's second highest ranked country in terms of soft power, and the monarchy is at the heart of that. And I think, particularly in the case of President Trump, these visits do matter. We have the most Anglophilic president in the form of President Trump, somebody who deeply adores the royal family, whose mother, of course, famously Scottish and also adored the royal family. A real contrast with President Biden, whose mother actually once slept on the floor of a hotel when she was told that the Queen had once slept in one of the beds and she didn't want the risk of sharing a bed that the Queen might have used. And so these visits do count for somebody who really values those sorts of occasions like state visits. We know that President Trump is really looking forward to this. Of course, there's the pomp and pageantry that we'll be seeing tomorrow. But on Thursday, we're going to have the real business. Major business leaders from America are taking part. A potential $10 billion of investment being announced over the course of this state visit, with leading American industrialists from NVIDIA, BlackRock, Blackstone, Google, and potentially Apple as well, all present. AI discussions, nuclear facilities, hugely important. But for President Trump particularly, this is about the photo opportunities. He wants to be seen at Windsor with the King, with all the panoply of tiaras and white tie dinners.
And he loves the royal family, doesn't he? He loves Britain. So this is a diplomatic ace card for the UK government, especially when, as you just alluded to, there are very difficult conversations coming up.
Yes, and it's, you know, he had his first state visit in 2019, where he, of course, adored meeting Her Majesty the Queen. It remained one of the highlights of his presidency. He refers to it still to this day. So these things really do make a big deal for him. And of course, we can see the merits of that because Britain has actually been treated far more favorably, you could say, than many of its peers around the world. There is a warm relationship. There's also a warm relationship between the president and our prime minister, who, of course, is now in a very rocky time. President Trump is one of the few friends and allies he can still count on. So there's a lot playing on this from both sides.
But, Rafe, when you look at the embarrassment of the Keir Starmer, Epstein, Trump situation, how do you reckon that's going to play out? Is that, don't mention the war? Did we not talk about that?
So there is a press conference scheduled on the Thursday. On Thursday, President Trump will be going to Chequers, which is the Prime Minister's country retreat. All of this state visit is taking place outside of London, which is very rare, very unique. Maybe it's coincidence that this Trump visit was designed to take place when the House of Commons is in recess due to party conferences, or maybe it was deliberate. I'll let you make your mind up about that. Convenient that Buckingham Palace isn't available because of refurbishment. So actually, there won't be that much opportunity for the press to be involved, but there is a press conference on Thursday, and I'm sure there will be people in number 10 will be worrying about questions being raised.
Got to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for your comments, your analysis. Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rafe. Well, members of the royal family will attend the funeral of the Duchess of Kent at Westminster Cathedral today.
The King, Queen, Prince and Princess of Wales will all be there at what will be the first Roman Catholic funeral for a member of the royal family in modern history. That really means for the last 300 years or so.
Well, let's speak now to GB News royal correspondent Cameron Walker, who joins us live now from Westminster. And Cameron, it's a very sad day for the royal family because the Duchess of Kent was a remarkable lady, wasn't she?
Yeah, she absolutely was. Decades of service. She died on the 4th of September, aged 92. After a long life of service, she had a real affiliation with the Royal Dragoon Guards, and a single piper was stood on the gates last night of Kensington Palace as her coffin was driven out for a private vigil inside Westminster Cathedral last night, attended by her close and immediate family and friends. But today is the main event, the main funeral, where the King and Queen, of course, will be in attendance. And it's the first royal funeral to ever take place within the current Westminster Cathedral, which was built in the early 1900s. As you said, Eamonn, the first royal Catholic funeral for nigh on 300 years since the Acts of Settlement in 1701. And the Royal Dragoon Guards, again, are going to be playing a key role, but it's kind of echoing what happened during Queen Elizabeth II's funeral in 2022. You see the state hearse there, Sleep, Dearie, Sleep, the lament, which we heard in St George's Chapel in Windsor in 2022. That is going to be replayed inside the cathedral later on today. Her coffin, made of English willow, and the flowers on top of the coffin, white roses symbolising Yorkshire, and of course she grew up in Hovington Hall, so there will be flowers from that garden on top of her coffin too. So we are expecting the King and Queen and other members of the royal family later on today at Westminster cathedral.
Appreciate it, Cameron. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Britain's Newsroom is coming up at 9:30. Andrew Pearce and Miriam Cates are here to tell us all about it. Morning, you two.
Good morning.
Morning.
What have you got for us?
She's got a scoop.
Well, we've got an exclusive interview just after 10 o'clock with Danny Kruger, who's the first sitting Conservative MP to defect to Reform yesterday. Obviously, that was a surprise to many, and lots of people are calling for a by-election, but he's here to tell us why he's jumped now.
Was it a surprise to you?
Yes and no. I mean, I think, I know Danny very well. We worked together very closely in the last Parliament. He's been in the Conservative Party a long time, so I know this won't come easily to him. But on the other hand, I completely see, he's loyal to the country before the party and feels this is the right direction. Anyway, we'll have lots more from Danny shortly.
Is it going to open the floodgates?
That is the question, because he's a serious politician, one of the most influential Conservative figures, small c Conservative figures, so it could indeed usher in some more defections.
Well, Nigel Farage says there's more to follow.
Yeah, he would. And they've got the Tories have got a conference coming up. That would be the time, if you were Nigel Farage, to unveil another defector on the eve of the Tory conference. Disrupt it completely. That's politics.
Well, we will also be talking to Kemi Badenoch about business taxes, but I'm sure there'll be questions about... I'm sure Andrew will pose some difficult questions, won't you, Andrew?
It's my job.
Absolutely.
There's some big names on the front of the Times today about potential more defections, defection targets. Nadeem Zahawi, Priti Patel.
Well, I've known Priti for years. I'd be dumbfounded if she defected.
She also made some fairly tone-deaf comments about immigration not all that long ago, defending the Tories' record on immigration, which was probably unwise. So I don't think she'd be particularly well received by Reform, but who knows? We've got lots else. We're going to be talking about whether a potential Islamophobia definition would be a hindrance to the police investigating Muslims accused of crimes. What else have we got, Andrew?
Well, and the fallout from this ghastly man who's quit Number 10, Paul Ovenden, for putting together that filthy, racist, sexist, misogynistic attack on Diane Abbott. You're not so exercised by it, but
well,
I think
it's terrible, but I don't know whether you should be sacked for WhatsApp messages that are 10 years old. Well, we've got lots to come. You want to tune in, but first of all, we've got your weather.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Certainly compared with how we've started the week, it's a drier day for most of us today. Still a lot of cloud and still some showers, especially towards western coasts and more especially parts of northern and northwest England, southwest Scotland, Northern Ireland. That's where we'll see some very frequent and occasionally persistent showers moving through. Areas of cloud for many, but the brightest weather will be towards the southeast, mostly dry here, as well as parts of central Scotland. Again, avoiding a lot of the showers here. It's going to feel a little warmer because of the lighter winds compared with Monday, and also because of fewer showers and a bit more sunshine. But it turns increasingly cloudy, increasingly breezy as well from the southwest as the afternoon comes to an end. Meanwhile, for much of Scotland, we keep the showers going into Tuesday evening. The most frequent of these will be across the north of Scotland, and the showers further south through the central belt and southern Scotland tending to ease. Northern Ireland showers also easing for a time. Northwest England seeing one or two, but across parts of Wales and the southwest, the showers merging to give longer spells of rain as the evening sets in because of the next frontal system that's approaching. It also turns breezier overnight. We do keep some clear spells and some dry weather into the east and especially the northeast of Scotland, but really for much of the UK, by dawn on Wednesday, it's a very wet and very breezy picture. That means, of course, it's not going to be a particularly chilly night away from the far northeast where we keep the clear skies, but it is going to be a soggy start to Wednesday. Some heavy rain through parts of Wales, the Midlands, northern England as well. That will come and go through the day. The bands of rain push their way northeastwards. It does turn drier and brighter in places, particularly Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, northern England by the afternoon, but areas of rain will persist elsewhere, particularly across parts of Wales. It's going to feel a bit more humid, highs of 20 Celsius.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com.
On the M6 northbound at junction 38 in Cumbria, an accident has caused all lanes to close, resulting in delays. On the A34 in Oxfordshire, southbound traffic faces significant congestion with approximately 30-minute delays expected until around 9:58 this morning. Plan your journey accordingly. On the M5 southbound at junction 12 in Gloucestershire, a broken down vehicle is causing lane closures. And on the trains, Northern buses are replacing trains between Corkicle and Whitehaven. South Western Railway reports disruptions between Bournemouth and Weymouth and Basingstoke and Woking. Check schedules before you travel. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, weekdays from 9 p.m.
What on earth is going on at our university? So Professor Steven Greer had worked for the University of Bristol for 36 years when his career was halted after a false accusation of Islamophobia. The issue arose when Greer taught about the Charlie Hebdo attacks during a human rights module, and a student who didn't actually attend the course complained. Well, I'm delighted now to be joined by Steven Greer himself to explain what happened. Steven, thank you very much. Tremendous to have you on the show. Can you just explain the circumstances that led up to you being accused of Islamophobia, please?
Well, out of the blue, or almost out of the blue, I received a complaint about a module I'd been teaching on a human rights unit, entitled Islam, China and the Far East, for nearly 15 years without incident. Which included the increasing critical literature about human rights issues in Islam, China, and the Far East. And my principally, as I said, the principal complaint, it did include a complaint about Charlie Hebdo, but the principal complaint was about the fact that I had referred students to the authoritative academic literature. And the student who complained was the president of BRISOC, the University of Bristol Islamic Society, who was a medical student who'd not attended any of the course himself, and he claimed to be acting on behalf of anonymous students. And there were all kinds of other procedural irregularities